All right, well, we should be live, so let's get rolling here. I don't think I've played with any of you guys besides Rob so far. I lost Juve, but he'll be back in a sec. So, if you guys haven't met me before, my name's Morgan. I do a lot of more horror fantasy type stuff. That seems to be my niche, what I kind of like. Let's see. So we're running this game for BrigadeCon. I wanted to give a shout out to Andre and Barker and everybody who's behind this whole project. Down below the video, for anybody who's watching now, in the future, in the past somehow, wherever the hell you are, down below the video, there's some links for the Child's Play charity. If you guys haven't already donated, that'd be awesome. I got myself a shirt yesterday. Wish it wasn't in time, but it's a great little program. wasn't able to play last year for this, but I decided this year I'd run a game. I did donate last year though. Got to watch a lot of good games. So definitely thanks to those guys, and I wanted to thank you guys for signing up for this. So it was pretty short notice. I was actually wondering if it would be able to pull it off, but definitely I'm honored to run this for you guys. Any questions or anything, just give me a shout. Be happy to help you out since everybody's fairly new. I think everybody has your sheets. We'll do introductions within the game itself as you guys kind of come into the scene. To set the scene for you guys, though, there's this large city. It's called New Nessus. It's pretty much just a complete shithole of what it once was. It's on the riverbanks of an old river. It was mainly a trade hub at one time. About 100 years ago or so, this was a really massive, booming sort of city. Probably one of the largest in the land. But it got hit with a plague. People claim that it was from the goblins that take over the sewers here, but whether or not it's true, nobody really knows. But this plague wiped out about 60% of the population. Everybody who was still left pretty much moved away from this place to get out of here in fear of this plague coming back. It was called the Crimson Tear Plague. Caused people's eyes to burst apart. They cried blood, and then their brains just kind of melted out of their eye sockets. Pretty horrid thing. So what's left is this ramshackle of what used to be a city that's pretty much now overtaken by ghosts of the dead. There's a lot of undead. A lot of other creatures have kind of moved in. An old farmer by the name of Sir Urian was able to come into this town. He wanted us to rebuild this place, bring it back to what it once was. He actually purchased the city for 100 gold coins. And he's trying to do what he can to kind of make this place livable and make it enjoyable once again. So he's kind of banded together these different people who want to bring back the city for one reason or another. Whether or not they're doing it for the positives, he doesn't really care about at the moment. He's just trying to find people who will go out, clear out areas of where there's undead or monsters and stuff, so that he can have his architects and his construction workers and everybody kind of go out, rebuild the city, and begin to once again grow it back to what it once was. He's a pretty, he seems like a nice guy. He's a little hard-edged. He was a sailor and a pirate for years. But he does seem like he really wants to give this place a life again and do what he can for it. So as you guys are coming into the scene here, from what you know, the merchant vessels that travel up and down the river, they're the prime source of this city. It's pretty much where everything comes through. There is a trade road, but it's not used, and it's pretty hazardous. So most of these ships kind of come up and down the river to drop off all the merchant wares and the food stocks and everything like that. For the past month or so, these trade ships have been getting less and less, and people are saying that there's creatures and bandits on the river that are attacking the ships, waylaying the merchants, stealing the goods. All of the merchant ships have kind of given up at this point. A few trickle in here and there, but otherwise they're pretty much kind of shut off. They don't have any interest in trying to help the city for fear of losing their wares. So in turn, the city is just starting to crumble under its own weight. The people there are starting to starve. There's no trade wares coming in. There's no medicines coming in. So people are getting sick, and there's nothing they can do. So Autarkirian has kind of put out a lead to try and find some people who will go down and see what's going on this river, take out whatever might be happening, and try to open this route back up. That is where you fellows come in. One way or another, you guys kind of got this information, and whatever your motivation is, it doesn't have to match with his, but you've decided to pick up this job. He's paying you quite well, 50 gold actually, which is a huge, significant amount in this game. And that should set you and your children and several generations off for life if you can figure out what's going on and take care of this. So our scene opens with the four of you standing in the chambers of Autarch Urian. He's an aging man, perhaps in his upper 50s. He has dark, weathered skin, a gray, scruffy beard he doesn't seem to take care of. Has typical fisherman sort of clothes. He has a bit of like a pleather sort of jacket on, and he has a big wide hat. Always seems like he just came off the river. He's not the type of person you'd really expect to lord over the city. You see him kind of stand up from his desk, and you can see his bottom lip sticks out a little bit, and he spits into this can next to his table and then dips in his lip and puts a big wad of tobacco in the can. He says, "You boys ready for this? I'm counting on you. Why don't you tell me about yourself so I know who's saving the city from starvation?" He kind of looks across, and I'll just go across the bottom of my screen here. So, Josh, you would be up first. London, Joshua, sorry. So he kind of looks at your character. He says, "Who are you?"
All right. You would see a greasy-looking goblin who, even though he tries very hard to clean up and wash himself with soap, just these pores emitted constant filth and sweat keep him with this nice film of ooze over his face. However, he is dressed in very fine, almost evening ball type clothing. And he was, I am actually, as a child, I was offered to a hag in order for her not to curse my people. And she raised me and trained me to be a caring part of her harem. And sadly, her big, beautiful body was destroyed by sword. And I have been a part of the city trying to play my music and trying to earn money. But these old stories of goblins below the sewers continue to plague the people to not give me money. So I volunteer my services and my music to show that there is but one good goblin among you, and that I am not like my brothers who have not felt the lovely touch of old hags.
Stares at you for a moment. Well, fellow, I've had a lot of old hags in my day, too, so I can relate. So he kind of looks across. He says, "What about you?" And he kind of points to Juve's character. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
Well, I am basically a very grotesque, greasy, hideous-looking hunchback with a crooked horn, minotaur, with very grotesque and twisted features. I constantly lie about the things I've done, so I go around telling people that I've killed dragons and, saved damsels in distress, and in actuality, I'm just a degenerate gambler who sits around and boasting about things I've never actually done.
Beautiful. So you killed a dragon. Well, you should have a fine adventure here. I don't think you'll find any dragons, but if you've taken out one of them beasts, then hell, I don't even know if I meet these other fellows.
Of course not. I can do everything by myself. I need no one.
Well, I'll tell you what.
A drink.
It says, when you come back, and if these fellows don't do anything, I'll give you their lot of the gold. You just let me know.
I'll definitely keep that in mind, with a smirking grin as he looks at the others.
And do you have a name for your Minotaur yet?
Grosgul.
Grosgul. He kind of shifts his gaze over to Rob, your character. Gives you a bit of an up and eye and down. Says, "What's your story, mate?"
Rivel Topkin is obviously he's extremely short. He's a halfling, and he's wearing these robes, which he's kind of fashioned into a sort of poncho for himself because they were too long and he kept tripping over them. So he's kind of folded up them kind of at the sides. And he is standing around looking disinterested in pretty much everything. He looks up and he says, "My story is unimportant. I'm here. I'm willing to help. It does not matter where I have come from. And gives like a toothy smile. And you can see like there's bits of like old food and old meals stuck in his teeth. He's slightly he's very skinny, but he has what seems like an enormous mouth compared to the rest of his face. As it's almost slightly unsettling. Yeah, that's him.
He kind of nods a little bit and kind of stares over the three of you. He's like, well, and he pulls out this little pocket watch sort of thing and looks at it a few times. He says, there was another fellow that was coming. I saw him in here. Now he just ran out the door, but we'll be back in a moment with him and let him introduce himself to you. But let me get on with a bit of the story here for you guys. It says, you're going to be floating in my boat. It says, I ain't going to be driving it because I got other shit here to do. He says, I'm letting Captain Smeal guide it down. He's got 2 mates. You guys don't need to worry about the ship and getting down the river. I want you guys to focus on figuring out what the hell the problem is and taking care of it. He says, we're loading up a bunch of empty crates on the dock. There'll be maybe some sand and some glasswares in there, but nothing of value. We want this to look like you guys got something good. So be sure that if somebody comes to bother you, you protect those crates. You know, make them think that you got something there that they need. He says, you should find Captain Smeal's interesting fella. And he kind of points to Astley. He says, he's a goblin like yourself, actually. Well, quite a bit larger than you, probably twice your size. A big muscular fella. And his mates, I forget their names. I think it's Mate and Miss Mate. 2 handsome fellows, though. He says, but, you know, like I said, you guys hit down the river, figure out what's going on down here. Once you get back, 50 gold apiece, unless you make the poor Minotaur here do all the work, then he gets all the gold. So you guys better hold up your end of the bargain. He says, looks at his watch again, he says, Captain Smeal won't be back for about another hour or so, but we do have somebody I'd like you guys to go talk to before you head out. He says, if you head down to the old hospital there's a man by the name of Gavin DeRoss. Used to be one of the merchants for the area. He liked to drive his own ship, noble soul. It says, an old farmer found him on the outskirts of the banks a few days ago. The man's mad with hallucination and schizophrenic seizures, and he passes out often. Pretty bad condition. It looks like whatever these wounds are that cover his body have been infected. He doesn't have very long, but maybe while you're waiting for Captain Smeal, you can talk with this fellow and get a little bit of information, see what he's come across. I didn't get much more than pissed on when I last seen him, but maybe you'll have better luck. He kind of digs around in his pouch and puts another big wad of tobacco in his lip. He says, you fellas need anything else, or you're going to get out of here?
Let's go.
Yeah. I have money to make, and
dragons to slay.
Yeah, that too.
Says, well, you boys be safe. Everything should be set on the docks for you. Take what gear you need, and I'll see you in a few days. With that, he kind of sits back down at his desk. You see he pulls a book out from a drawer and flips it open. Anybody who's close enough to the table can notice it looks to be some sort of economic ledger or pays ins and outs and stuff. And he's writing each of your names down and marking down a 50 gold to be paid upon return. He closes that up and sticks it in his drawer before he gives you a bit of a nod and ushers you guys out the door. Outside, you can see that the clouds above are pretty dark and hanging. You can hear thunder and lightning in the far distance as the storm's kind of getting ready to roll across the land. The city is pretty run down, so you can see poor beggars and kind of lining the sides of the streets. Most of the economic places, the shopkeepers and such like that, are all boarded up. See a couple goblins kind of skitter down a sewer hole. They give Ashley a bit of a look back. Their smiles kind of wide as they hope that their savior can release them from these prison of the sewers and maybe give them a good life up with the noble folk, up with the big giants there. Straight down the street, about 100 yards or so, you can see what's been kind of cobbled together as a bit of a hospital and church to the new god. That's where Gavin would be. And down beyond that, you can see where the different docks are and the ships that are pulling in and out on the river and getting ready for the day. It's about 10 a.m. in the morning. What would you guys like to do?
Ashley would pull out his. It's a very small lute, almost like a ukulele, and he just knows 3 chords, but that's all you need to know to write a popular song. And so he just strummed these 3 chords. And first he'd go over to our Minotaur, and he would say, I take it that no one has written of your adventures yet. Would you allow me to write songs of your dragon slaying?
Sure. Across his face.
Yes, and he goes, well, on our journey, we will have time to write. Just make sure you remember all the details, because people like all the details to be completely correct, or they won't believe the song.
Mm-hmm.
And upon seeing like other goblins that are dressed in rather clothes, actually would even acknowledge them. He has truly evolved beyond their species.
Yeah. Riddle would be just kind of walking along, contented just to kind of do whatever. He is one of those people who just kind of sits around and lets whatever happens in the world happen to him. Like the classic little dog or whatever that just sits and does whatever and goes for a walk whenever. He doesn't really care what happens, and just kind of follows wherever his friends or his companions go. So he'd be happy to go with them. Although he does suggest that he suggests that they go see this fellow, as he may be of some use to us.
You kind of mentioned that, Rivel. You can hear something kind of skirt behind you, and you feel this lumpy sort of appendage or something kind of digging around in your back pocket.
Rivel would turn around and kind of, as he spins, he's like swinging his staff. It's not very high. It only comes up to about his sort of chest height, so it's really short. But he's pretty much aiming to kind of wrap whoever it is on the head who's hanging, just kind of catch them by surprise.
Yeah, as you kind of spin around and you whack this person, you don't quite hit him on the head, but you hit him right on the crotch head, I suppose, of this tall sort of human fellow. And you can see he steps back, holding his groin a bit and kind of bows down. He's like, man, I'm just looking for a few coins. You didn't have to hit me in the nads. He's like, you got a few coins?
Well, if you'd have asked, I would have said yes. But no.
I've asked that fella and he ignored me, and I asked that fella and he ignored me, and I just figured I might as well just take a dip, Got to make a living, man.
And he kind of sort of nods understandably, but says, there is nothing I can do. You are a thief, and you will be punished. And kind of like, you see him kind of start going into his bag, and he pulls out what looks like a scroll case, and he's pretty much going to try and intimidate this pickpocket with the scroll case. He's not actually going to use a scroll or anything, but he's going to try and make it look like he is, and he'll go all the way to kind of like pull it out and start sort of saying like silly made up words to try and make people think that he's casting some horrific spell.
All right. Give me an intellect attack roll. So you're going to do 1d20 plus whatever your intellect modifier is, and then you're going to give yourself 2 boons, so 2 dice 6s, and take the higher of the 2.
Okay, sweet. So that's an 18 on the d20 plus 4 is 22, and then I roll
2d6 and take the higher of the 2.
Well, that's snake eyes. So.
One. Yep. That's plenty, though. You can see he kind of backs up, throwing his hands in the air. Kind of, he stumbles back across the ground, kind of like crab crawling backwards, trying. He's like, no, man, no, hey, look, I was just trying to, just make a few bucks. Like, hey. It's like, you ain't got to be casting any of them spells on me there. Hey. You see him kind of back up a little bit, stumble over some garbage, and kind of just fell into this pile of old food and stuff next to an old restaurant.
Yeah, and Rivel's having fun. He's like doing like, you know, wavy hand motions and just saying silly, like ridiculous words, and kind of making strange faces. And he opens his mouth wide, which is kind of just adding this really slightly creepy effect to his face as the guy is backing up. He's just kind of giggling to himself, but trying not to, essentially.
And you can see when he kind of crashes into this garbage, he kind of pulls it around him a little bit, kind of cover himself with the refuse, and you can see he just kind of huddles down his ass in the air underneath all this garbage. Every now and then he kind of shitters and jakes a little.
He would just roll up the scroll, laugh, and turn back around to his friends, kind of smiling to himself.
Could I try to pickpocket this thief while
Sure.
he's distracted?
Yeah, definitely.
And as he does that, I come over dragging my axe with sparks coming off the ground as I walk towards him with my grotesque features and whatnot, snarling at him.
This guy's had the worst day.
Josh, why don't you give me, it'd be an agility check, so it'd be 1d20 plus whatever your agility modifier is, and with him aiding you through intimidation, give yourself one boon.
All right. 25.
Yeah. As you kind of dig around in his pocket a little bit, he seems to kind of notice, obviously, but he's just completely fear for his life at this moment. So he just kind of lets you do whatever you're trying to do to him. The only thing you kind of find when you dig out of there, though, is one copper penny and what looks to be a half-eaten piece of an apple.
I will take both.
Okay.
And I will toss the copper at the halfling, and I will eat the apple.
Yeah, with that, he kind of buries himself further into the garbage and kind of covers himself up. I see a little eye peek out.
And I lean into the garbage, and with one giant snort, as you see, like the steam come out of my nostrils in his face. Mess with us again, and I will chop your head off.
Hey, man. Hey, sir. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, just kind of stares at you with his one eye.
With the sickly sound of the axe grinding against the ground with the spark shooting up.
So,
and Rivel catches the coin, or the copper coin thrown to him, and as his kind of companions walk past, he smells to himself and flicks the coin back in the direction of the pickpocket before moving on, following his friends.
Yeah, he stays hidden for the time being. Just you can see every now and then he kind of peeks out between the garbage and stuff with his eye and watches you, but he has no interest in moving or coming out at the moment. As you guys make your way down the street there and you come to this old hospital. And you can see at one time it was probably a church. It's pretty much boarded up. Several parts of it are in states of decay. You can see some people working on it and trying to repair this place. There's a very tall man standing up front, human, but he looks like he's probably about close to 7 feet, maybe a little bit more, real tall and lanky. He wears white and black robes that are kind of intermingled with swirls. Almost kind of looks like clouds on his robes. And he's holding the book out and he's just kind of yelling at anybody who passes by all these different scriptures from this book. As you kind of come up, he says, "Goblins are not allowed in the church." It says, "Unless you repent your sins. Will you bow down and repent your sins?"
He'll say, how about a song of worship?
He says, "That'll do. Let me hear this song of yours."
And I will play the same 3 chords, and not really knowing what I'm supposed to sing to, I'll just sing a chorus of "Goblins are friends. They like people, and we no longer carry diseases."
Give me a wisdom challenge.
Instead, could I make this a friendship song spell?
Yeah, if you want to.
And yeah, which would mean this guy has to make a will challenge roll.
A natural one. So he's totally, ingrained with what you're seeing. You can see his foot kind of tapping a little bit. He starts kind of clapping along with your beat. He kind of looks over to the halfling inventory. He's like, "You fellas going to join in on this or what?" He reaches down and pulls like a big flask from this box that he's standing on. You can see his robes covered up the box. So when he kind of lifts it up, you can see he's really only probably about 5 foot tall. He's just standing on this tall box. Then he pulls out a flask and downs it, hands it over to the goblin and says, "Drink up, fellow friend."
Yeah. Well, I'll take my feathered hat off and hold it out, expecting a tip.
Yeah, he kind of digs around a little bit and pulls out what looks to be a copper shilling and kind of tosses it in there. He's like, "You're quite the fine little goblin. Don't see many of your kind that are quite of your superiority. Go on in. Say your prayers to the new god and do what you will to help the sick. Your friends are more than welcome to. Good day, sirs."
Nod and a smile from Rivel as he walks past.
This church, when you walk inside, you can see that the interior has pretty much been completely remodeled. It's actually quite nice. It has huge stone pillars that are decorated that kind of spiral up. Everything here seems to be dedicated to the new god, which all of you would know is sort of like a new savior. There's been a lot of cults and a lot of churches that have been cropping up in reference to this person or this deity, I guess, and it was supposed to be saving the world. All of the original gods, the original ones, have pretty much been cast out, and anybody who kind of follows them is a bit of a heretic anymore. Along the whole western side, and I guess it would be on your right-hand side of the wall, you can see just beds are all lined up. All different people are kind of lined up. Some of them seem to be doing okay. Some of them are fairly injured. Over down towards the end, though, you see a man who's been bandaged up almost from head to toe. One of his legs is kind of slung up. Up above on the headboard, you can see Gavin DeRoss is scribbled out in chalk. There's 2 small halfling nurses that are next to him, kind of look like they're trying to wrap up a wound or something like that. They got a cold, wet cloth across his forehead. He yells something in a strange tongue none of you recognize. He just turns around and backhands one of these halflings, sitting there sprawling across the floor as he tries to break out of these binds that they have him tied down into the bed. What would you like to do?
I sit towards the back since I'm the big grotesque minotaur, so I presume that I am scaring the sick as I'm walking through here with my giant battle axe.
Almost certainly. You can see a lot of them. Yeah, they just kind of stare at you. A little girl does kind of run by. She stops a few feet from you to kind of stare at you for a few moments. You can see she slowly kind of leans up and hands you what looks to be a small little teddy bear.
Yeah, I would.
And I bend over and I'm like, "Are you not scared of me, little girl?" As I snort.
As you get close to her face, you can see that both of her eyes are this pale, sort of sickly color. She's clearly blind. She says, No, sir. I recognized you there. I felt your presence. You seem like a very mighty person with very hot, wet breath." She says, "But I would like to offer you a gift. I was told that somebody today would come and be our saviors. Would that be you?"
And shocked that someone is not yelling or screaming in fear, he's like, "We are here to problem. I will take your gift." And he looks at it and puts it in his pocket and steps back, perplexed by the situation overall.
She kind of gives a bit of a smile and kind of scurries off. You can see she's headed over into the corner where a bunch of other kids kind of play. They've all been staring at her with their jaws kind of hanging open as she did this. She kind of sits down and just starts playing with some toys that are over there. What are the other 2 doing?
Is there anybody with like a pretty serious, like visible disease, like open sores or?
As far as like that goes, not diseased really. You see some people with some heavy like burn wounds. Some of them just look like they're sick, like a heavy flus or colds or something like that. Nobody has any kind of open disease or anything though. Well, except for Gavin, he's not looking good. But besides him,
yeah. I would go to Gavin. Being a goblin who cannot catch diseases, just this corrupting ability of nature to destroy other creatures is quite fascinating and deserves to have a song written about it. So, is there anything I noticed about these wounds that he has?
As you kind of get up there, let's see what you got for. Nope. When you kind of get up there, you can see that the wounds that he has have been kind of covered up. They look like huge gash marks, though. Just big open wounds, as if maybe from some sort of sharp blade or something. But they've just completely split open, and they're just filled with blood and gore. As these things are infected, you see maggots kind of crawling around through one on his legs, which at least is a kind of a positive since they're cleaning it out. But it's clear that this infection has completely wrecked his body. These open sores, you can see his eyes are like this dark reddish sort of color. Every now and then, this black sort of goopy stuff kind of dribbles out of his nose, his ears, his eyes. You don't recognize it as any sort of disease that you know of, but it's clear that something's wrong.
I would take my finger and run it through this open ooze in his leg, collecting some of this pus and, just the blood beginning to clot, and leaving behind a nice trail of goblin slime in the open wound. And kind of like hold it up to my eyes to examine it, rolling it between my fingers, sniffing it, almost licking it.
Okay.
Give me an intellect roll with 1 bane.
If I lick it, can I get a boon?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't cough on it, I think, yeah.
All right, so that will cancel them out, so it's just a d20.
Yep.
13.
15. No, that's a success. It tastes very salty, very briny. Nothing like you've really had. Maybe some old rotten fish you've tasted that kind of tasted like that. It smells very fishy. But beyond that, I'm not really sure. It is definitely that whatever is infecting his body, though, has been intermingling with his blood and, his bodily fluids and stuff. So there's something more than just his fluids there.
Yeah, I kind of swish it around my mouth like a fine ratatouille, and then look at the halfling to see if he has anything he'd like to do.
Yeah, you look over and Rivel, you see he's gone very pale. He's kind of leaning on his staff like a crutch and is swaying ever so slightly. He is absolutely not smiling and is like really kind of struggling to just not throw up or something. You get the impression he's quite squeamish and he's just really not enjoying being in such a kind of place filled with disease and death, and all these injuries and things are making him feel quite ill.
When you rub your hand through his wound, actually, you can see he jerks a little bit. He yells out something in a strange tongue you don't recognize. And when he kind of spins around to look at you, most of his head is bandaged up except for his eye, his nose, and his mouth, but the rest of his head's just kind of covered in bandages. But you see this one eye, the pupil's huge and dilated in his eyes. He just kind of stares at you. Makes out a few grunting sort of noises, and then he kind of reaches his hand out like he's trying to grab a hold of you or reach you for something. Sorry, that was towards Ashley.
Oh, sorry. I would, after kind of savoring this wound and thinking about, there must be a great story behind what's going to kill you. Would you mind sharing what has happened to you to place you here?
He kind of reaches out, finally kind of gets a little part of your ball gownish sort of clothes and grabs a hold of it, pulling you in close. You can hear his voice is very rough. He says, "The beast from the river. I need to start." Sorry. East just started. Damn, my own voice.
Come on, give that man an Oscar.
That's great role play. That is great.
No, I'm crying, I tell you. But yeah, he just starts to scream in pain.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Anyway, yeah, he just kind of has this deep, raspy voice, which I'm not going to do again because apparently it doesn't like me. But yeah, you can see he kind of whispers in. He says, "The creatures from the river." He says, "They came up and they took the ship, and then the eye in the sky, and there was flames, and then the beast with the light." And then he just starts rambling on. He says, "Then I saw the creatures. They were swimming from the moon, and they came down in a chariot, like fireflies in the morning. And then the little hobbit ladies, and they climbed up upon these dragons, and they swam away through the ocean." He says, and he just kind of passes out on the bed. One of these little halfling ladies kind of hurries over. She's like, "Sir, we can't get him all riled up. We just finally got him settled down. We must ask you to leave him for the day. Perhaps you can come back when he's feeling better."
I think that would be best. And he's like breathing really deeply, like before you throw up, you're like, trying to stop yourself.
Yeah, I'll take my hat off and place it on my chest, not realizing if he's dead or not. And I will look at the little halfling and ask, "Do you happen to have a morgue where I might harvest some body parts?"
I look at him. Why on earth do you need body parts?
I will reach into my pack and I will pull out what looks like a big jar of salt, and I will hand it to you. And inside, you will see numerous pieces of genitalia that I am drying up and almost appearing to try to curve it to make rings and bracelets. And this is a pre-gen, I'm not this messed up.
You vile little maggot thing, and I toss it back to him.
And Ribble at this point is frozen and then just bolts for the door. And you just hear the sounds of violent throwing up outside.
Yeah, the two little halfling girls, when they see what you gave this minotaur, they kind of back off as well and kind of leave you to think this is, "No, sir, we don't have a morgue. That's what the graveyard's for." And they just kind of scurry back behind a doorway into like a little office area and slam the door shut.
I will sigh because I have forgotten to bring my shovel and cannot dig the grave. And then almost like, I haven't caused a big scene, I'll just walk out, kind of watching in awe at this dry heaving halfling.
He's heaving, but it's not dry. He is just vomiting. And he turns around and there's like some dribbling from his mouth. His face is white. And he looks at you and he says, "If you ever get that out again, I will kill you."
And he will say, I know they do not look good now, but just wait until I chisel them and adorn them with fine jewels.
And
They are the...
He just starts vomiting again.
Outside, you can hear this loud sort of crash, and you kind of look down the street towards where the docks are. The whole area is littered with a lot of different taverns and sailor taverns, the nice kind of rough sort of places these sailors like to go. But there's this loud crash, and as you glance down the street, you see this man kind of get thrown through a window. He hits the ground hard. You can see there's like a glint of silver in his face as he kind of falls to the side. He's not moving on the ground.
Is he dead?
You can go check.
I will go and check if he's dead.
Yeah, because you guys kind of watched the goblin take off. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll follow.
As you guys come up onto this, you can see that there's like a loud shouting, obviously like a barroom fight going on in this place. The man that's been thrown out of this window, though, you can see that a cleaver's been buried right into his forehead. Where his head hit the ground outside, though, it's been cracked open. So it just kind of looks like somebody cracked an egg with a skull. Just kind of spills out his brains, and the gore kind of spilling out across the ground, intermingling with the blood. There's this loud crash up in the distance, and then this bright flash of light. a few streets away as lightning strikes down, and then this thundering boom. It seems like everything kind of coalesces in one as this huge torrential downpour just starts pouring down around you. You hear a couple of voices. When you look over towards the door, you see 4 men step out. They're dressed in basic sailor sort of wear. They have a couple fish hooks hanging on their belt. One of them holds what looks to be maybe like a large chef knife or something. This woman kind of screams beside him that he's holding onto by her hair. He just plunges this knife right into her throat and then throws her to the side, her blood spilling out across the ground. He kind of looks around a little bit, and as soon as he sees you guys looking at this body on the ground, you can see that he kind of stares at Ashley, and then he just charges right towards you. Would you guys like to go fast or slow?
So it's pretty safe to say that this guy's dead.
The guy on the definitely.
And Ashley would just be so excited, like clapping his hands, saying, the day's not lost. Like fumbling in his bag, looking for a knife to practice his rabbi-like deafness. But then seeing this large figure come at him, I think I would act fast.
Okay. So Ashley's fast. How about Grazgul and Rivel? What would you guys like to do? Fast or slow?
Rivel will be slow.
Slow.
I will charge directly towards it.
All right.
Horns bearing down.
All right. Do you want to make an actual charge attack, which could be fast, or wait until he comes up to you?
Actual charge attack.
Okay. All right. So Ashley and Grazgul, you guys are.
Because I already seen him kill the woman, correct? I already seen him kill someone, correct?
Yep.
He's dead.
All right. Ashley, why don't you go first then? You want to go fast? What would you like to do?
Do I see that this berserker is going to cut off this guy from reaching me?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, if you want him to go first, he can too. It doesn't matter either.
Well, no, just knowing whether or not this guy can reach me would change what I'm going to do. I am going to just fumble around and barely reach my little ukulele in time and strum, and just with like such vigor, still speechless from thinking that someone will want to attack me, but playing almost like very heavy chords to incite anger in the berserker, and this will be a song of valor, and he will deal extra 1d6 damage with his attack.
All right. That's for what, a minute. So it works just like most other games. A minute's 10, or a round is 10 seconds. So basically 6 rounds, 1 minute. All right. Okay. So you're guessing it. So Grazgul, you would be up. You can see this guy's running at you. If you want to charge him, that would be 1 bane to your attack, counterset by whatever you have, and then yeah.
So
let's see.
If I'm looking at this correctly.
So like you,
not horns does
2d6.
Hold on, I need a cheat sheet. I'm trying to make an attack for melee, so I guess I need to roll a d20 to see.
Yep. What weapon did you want to use? Your horns, great axe?
I was going to use the horns.
Okay. So you get 1 boon because of your warrior ability, and then you have 1 bane for charging, so they just cancel each other out. So it'll be 1d20 plus your strength mod, which I think is a 4. Yeah, it's 1d20 plus 4. Their defense...
9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
I was going to say, their defense is 12, so that's a hit. So you do your damage, and then add another 1d6 on top of whatever it normally is.
Okay. Horns do.
I think this one. I think it's 1d6 plus
1d20 plus 4.
Yep, that's your attack.
Damage 2d6.
Yep, plus another d6 from the Song of Valor.
All right. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points of damage.
All right. So you're going to take this guy out. You can describe what you do to him.
So as I ram into him, I pretty much horn go directly into his guts through and puncture out the back. There's copious amounts of blood, entrails falling out of his belly, and him spurting out blood as I hoist him and fling him off as you see entrails and blood as he goes into the woods.
Nice. Yeah, you can see as this huge minotaur turns around, he has a bit of appendix or something kind of hanging from one horn, a little bit of a stomach hanging from the other. And the other three just kind of look on, these other three guys look on in horror a little bit. They look to each other back and forth a little bit. You can see that every one of them has this black goop kind of seeping from their ears, nose, their eyes and stuff. But once they see this guy go down, all three of them just draw out their short blades and start moving in to attack you guys. Rivel, you would be up.
Okay.
They're about 10 feet away from you.
Okay. I am going to try and cast the division spell. So he kind of like puts his staff in front of him and lets go, and it kind of holds its position. And he starts making all these kind of semantic hand motions, and you can see this kind of air kind of pocket forming around him. And so it's just a D20 plus my
Intellect.
Intellect, right? Yeah.
Against their strength, which is a 10.
Okay, that's a 21.
So yep, that'll hit. So whatever the damage is.
Okay.
Actually, it's 20 plus. You're going to deal an additional 1d6. So
Sweet,
4d6.
Okay, so that's 46. That's 3 4s and a 6, so that's 18.
And you can describe how you take him out too, because he's dead.
So this spell kind of it forms around him, and you just see like all his hand movements are very kind of slow and methodical, and then all of a sudden he just kind of like twists his hand slightly in a really kind of jerky fashion, and you just see one of their kind of eyes like bulge, and their whole kind of body contort strangely, and then he just falls, and then the corpse explodes with body parts flying everywhere, killing it instantly. And you hear Rivel kind of slightly vomit in his mouth, but swallow it down. But he's like, oh, yeah, and that's all he does. He then is just going to kind of skirt around and try and get back away from these guys if possible.
Yeah, you can move back.
Steer clear.
Yeah, when the body parts explode, so it kind of rains down around you. Ashley, next to you, you see this man's crotch and balls kind of land next to your feet. A couple fingers are there. There's two left. They both have to go slow, but they're going to attack the Minotaur. So, what is the Minotaur's defense? Let's see. It is 15. All right. And they don't have any bonus. So the first one is an 18, the other one's a 4. So, or 8. You see one of these guys kind of lunge in a little bit. His sword just kind of grazes past the Minotaur's side. It doesn't really seem to do anything. Cuts a couple pieces of his fur off, but not otherwise. There's this huge Minotaur kind of looks down at the other one. You can see the guy behind him kind of sneaks in a little bit. He jabs his blade kind of up under the armpit of Growsghoul. Opens up a small wound, nothing too bad. Take 4 points of damage, Growsghoul. And that's the end of the round, so you guys are up. Would you like to go fast or slow?
I'll go slow again.
I'll stay fast.
Okay.
I will go fast.
Fast. All right, so
what is the hit points for this system? Because I'm trying to find it. And I can't.
It'll be towards the top of your sheet. There's one that says damage and health. You have a health of 32. You can see two numbers, like a 0-32 for yours, and you would put the damage in the 0 spot. Once that number equals the 32, 4.
Okay.
And then once that number equals your 32, your main health is when you would actually go down. Damage counts.
Yeah, I like that it has you count damage up, because I find that much easier. That's how I do my monster health and stuff when I'm DMing. It's much easier.
I like that too. And also, same thing, like if you're at 29 and you take 6 points of damage, you don't go to 35. You just go to 32 and end whatever your health is, and then you don't actually go beyond it.
Okay.
So Ashley and Grazgool, you guys are up. Whoever wants to go first, don't matter.
All right. I think I will just continue singing my song and let the people know the road to defeat us is very thorny, especially when my friend is so horny, making reference to this great horn. And then I would stop the song abruptly and quickly grab the body parts near me and throw them into the salt.
Nice. Grazgool.
So I take is this kind of like a staff axe or just like a regular hand axe? Is this like a pole axe type of battle axe or?
Oh, the great axe, yeah, it's like your great big typical Minotaur massive axe.
So I will try to like swing it in an arc-like fashion to try to hit as many as I can.
Sure.
So how would that manipulation work in this system?
You got Cumbersome, which gives you 1 Bane. You have your Weapon Training, which gives you 1 boon from your warrior, so they offset each other. If you want to make an attack versus both of them, it's basically going to be a called shot, which will have 2 Banes. So you would do your 1d20 plus 4 minus 1d6, whichever one's higher. But their defense is only a 10, so.
I say I'll go for it and take the 2 Banes, so roll the d20.
Yep, d20 plus 4, and then roll 2 d6s and take the higher of the 2. And that'll be a penalty.
Uh, 16 and 5.
16, so it's an 11 total. So, yep, you're good. You hit them both. Basically, what you can do is split up your damage however you want between the two. So you're going to have 5 dice 6 for your damage right now. So you can split that up between 3 on one, 2 on the other, all on one, whatever you want to do.
So it's 5d6?
Yep.
Oh, God. Okay. 2, 2, 6, 5, and 3. So that's
18.
Yep. So split it down the middle between the two of them.
18, so 9 each. They're both hanging on. So as you kind of swing your arc around, you can see that it kind of cleaves through. It takes one of these guys' his weapons arms off, his sword and his hand just kind of fall to the ground. You can see the blood kind of spilling on from his arm. He backs up in a hurry, and then you can see that he looks like he, with his what hand he has left, kind of draws this little dagger. It seems like it obviously hurt him, like you can see his face contort in pain, but he doesn't seem to recognize really what happened as he just gets ready to dive back in. The other one is you kind of split across the top of his skull. You just shave off the whole part of his head. You can see his brain underneath. He should be dead, but for whatever reason, he seems like he's still hanging on. Rivel, you would be up.
So I have a question about the path abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a limit to how often you can use them? Because I have sorcery where wherever I cast an attack spell, I can use the talent to make the attack roll with a boon and impose a bane on the challenge rolls of the creature. But I get a strain. So is that I can do it whenever and I just have to manage it?
Yep.
Okay.
Every time you do that, though, and you get that strain is when you have to make that sorcerer's strain.
Yeah. Okay. Can I like roll the d20 and then be like, oh, I want to do it with the boon?
Yep.
Okay. Sure. Awesome. Okay, I am. I'm going to. Would I be able to get to my Minotaur friend from where I am?
Yeah, he's not too far away.
Okay. So I'm just going to scoot up to him, and I'm just going to kind of put my hand on his back and sort of rub him, and I'm going to say something along the lines of finish it. And I'm going to cast Swiftness on him, I think. So he gets a +10 bonus to his speed for the duration, except that you will be fatigued for a minute afterwards. But I just thought I think that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, right. I will swap that over into Grazgul. If you want to take one more attack action before the end of the round, since he gave you the bonus for speed, you can do so.
I will try to cleave one, lift the axe above my head, and try to split one straight down the middle.
Alrighty. Same thing as last time then. 1d20 plus 4 with 2 Banes. Take the higher of the 2.
Oh, that's not going to work. So that's 7. I got 7 with a 1. I mean, with a 2.
So 7 plus 4, 11, and then take 2 away is 9. So nope. Yeah, you kind of bring your, maybe caught off guard a little bit by this little halfling kind of coming up to you. You can see your body's moving a lot faster than what you were even anticipating. So the sword blade just kind of, or the axe blade just kind of swings up in front of this one guy, just barely misses your face, Rivel, as he kind of passes over top, and it just hit down into these cobblestones that this other guy tried to split in half, sending sparks everywhere and just leaving this huge gouge in the ground. Let's see. One guy's going to try and attack Grazgul. He's got a Bane. That's a miss. Another one on Grazgul. That's also a miss. So the guy with the one arm kind of comes in. You can see he's jabbing at you, trying to get a hold of you. It looks like he's actually trying to use his other arm that's no longer there. Like he's trying to reach out and grab you or something, but he doesn't seem to recognize that his arm is gone. The other guy just kind of slops forward. You can see his brain kind of flop around in the skull as he kind of lunges out, and he just kind of face plants down into the ground as he stumbles forward. This end of the round, so everybody is up if you'd like to go fast or slow.
I'll go slow this time.
What's the benefits of? So I guess I can go slow if I choose to.
Yeah, you don't really need to in your case. It would give you a move action, but they're both right there on top of you. Plus, with the swiftness that you have, you basically, if you go fast, you get 2 attacks.
Okay, so I will continue with fast then.
I'll go slow.
So yeah, Grazgul, if you got 2 attacks, if you'd like to make them.
I will go for the choppy chop again.
Alrighty.
So that's 12 and 4.
12 on the D20.
Mm-hmm.
Plus your plus 4 for your strength. So 16. So yeah, that's a hit. You trying for both of them again?
Oh no, I'm gonna cleave one straight down the middle.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's a hit. No matter what, you're gonna kill him because he only has 2 hit points. So you can describe what you do to him and then make your other attack on the other guy.
So basically, you see me come down with this mighty war axe. It goes through, and then for a brief second, you see him twitch, and then you slowly see on his face a trickle of blood, and then he slowly slides apart in equal halves and slumps to the ground.
Nice. And the other guy is prone on the ground, so you actually don't even need to make an attack if you don't want to. You can just.
I walk over and literally take the hoof of my foot and stomp on his head.
You see his head's already been cracked open as it is, and it just kind of splatters across the ground. Everybody around you seems to have basically went into hiding. You can see a bunch of the doors have all kind of jammed closed. People kind of stare out the window at you. There's one woman left inside this bar where everything kind of started out, but when you kind of glance through the window, you can see there's 3 guys on the ground that are all dead. They all have like blades sticking out of them somewhere. This woman that they killed, and then there's just one fat little halfling behind the bar. And you can see that he's kind of propped up on a stool. He's drinking a beer, and he's been kind of back there watching the whole thing. He tips his hat to you guys and then goes back to eating his meal.
I would, seeing that kind of there's this brief moment where of kind of silence and whatever, Rivel would definitely kind of pull his hood over his head and kind of keep his head low, try and avoid being noticed. Well, try and avoid people identifying him, rather, sorry.
I would begin harvesting the body parts. So you see me, this first gentleman I'm still crouched by, just kind of pull down his trousers, and with the deftness of a rabbi, just one quick slice, and I throw it into my little drying jar, and then I'd walk up to the one that just got curb stomped and do the same. I'd look down at the one that got sliced in half and know it's no good, and then look over to the woman and pull up her dress, and then look up confused. Okay, who took it?
I shake
Rivel,
my
as soon
head
as-
in disgust and walk on.
Yeah, I would go over and go to the halfling at the bar, just as something to do to avoid watching.
Yeah, you can see that he's just working on his meal. It looks like some sort of pot roast or something, some potatoes. He has a mug of beer next to him. Just kind of gives you a bit of a nod and goes back to eating. Nice job you did there, fellas. They interrupted my dinner. He kind of flips a gold coin in your direction. He says, buy yourself dinner sometime, mate.
And would catch it, kind of hold it up and pocket it, and said, "Oh, I just might do that."
Says, now get out of here. You got work to do.
Yeah, and he
And
would
it gives
just,
you a bit of a wry grin.
and he would incline his head and move on. Yeah.
Because you get to kind of cleaning up outside and getting your things around to head back down to the docks. You see this large orc-looking guy kind of come around the corner. Two smaller humans behind him kind of walk behind him. They're dressed in very nice clothes, pretty much matching Ashley's clothes, quite recognizable, very ballroomish, very fancy. This orc-looking fellow, though, as he kind of moves up, you realize it's actually a goblin. Pretty nasty-looking fellow. He has a huge overbite that kind of hangs over top. His lips are much too big, so they just kind of sag a little bit, blending in with his jowls. He wears a large glass manacle on his left eye, but you can see that the manacle's actually been fused into his skin and is kind of growing right into his face. His hands and feet, he doesn't wear anything besides a simple pair of trousers, so leaving his chest and everything bare, but his hands and feet are all webbed. He kind of looks around and says, you boys must be going on the trip down the river with me. He kind of hands out one of these webbed hands. Says, the name's Captain Smeal. And these are my mates. This is Mate, and he points to the one fella, and then he points to his other fellow, and Miss Mate.
How'd you do?
Says, I do fine and dandy, my friend. Says, you landlubbers think you can handle the river? Kind of juts over his shoulder, and you can see that the river is pretty rough right now from the storm that's been going through.
Yeah, I keep my balance pretty well.
Ashley would actually find respect for this goblin that has earned a notable career and shake his hand and then kind of remark, have you heard the stories of the river monster?
And he kind of looks at you and kind of disgust for the moment, realizing that you still have, one of these guys' dicks kind of hanging out of your hand. He's like, what in the hell are you doing with that?
Yeah.
Says, I don't allow none of that on my ship.
And I look around at my two male companions and say, I think we all have.
You could.
one of those.
I look at him like, if you want to, you could just put him on a dinghy and have him just drift behind the ship. I'm fine with that. He creeps me out as well. And with this face,
Seconded.
that's hard. That's hard to pull off.
He says, even for a goblin, that's just fucking disgusting, man.
Mm. I would look heartbroken. I go, they look nice with gems. And you'd see me kind of like quickly button up the top button to hide any necklace I might or might not be wearing.
What the hell has he got me into? And he just kind of rubs his head. He's like, well, fellas, we leave in a half hour. Get your shit on the ship and get your strap on your boots. He says, my mates will be down to gather up the hoists and get everything ready. I'm just going to grab myself a meal. And just put that shit away, man. And he just kind of turns and you can see he's heading into this tavern. He kind of looks around at the dead bodies and kind of shakes his head as he heads back into the back room where the kitchen is. The two mates, Mate and Miss Mate, kind of scuttle down the deck way. They do stop as they kind of look towards you. You can see that both of them have their mouths, or where it was their mouth, has all been sewn shut and it's kind of scarred over with flesh.
Are they goblins also?
Nope, they're humans.
Alright.
They look kind of small and kind of mangy looking, besides these very nice clothes that they're wearing. And then, yeah, where their face is, you can see where it was been stolen, but it's just been completely scarred over now. But they kind of nod to each other, and then you can see them run down the docks and get onto a ship off in the distance.
Yeah. River would be finding them uncomfortable and just say, "Why don't we go get something to eat?"
And I would kind of throw everything into my drying jar and screw the top on, and then kind of like begin to wipe my hands on my fine clothes, and then realize I don't want to ruin my clothes, and just kind of pat the halfling on the back.
Takes a few minutes as you guys walk into this little tavern area. The bodies still litter the floor and everything. There's some blood splatter across the table. It's not the cleanliest of places now, obviously. But you see Captain Smeal kind of step out, and he has a large plate of potato and stuff, and he sits it down. Says, so did the Autarch Urian give you fellows much information?
Only scraps.
Says, I've been down the river a few times now. To be quite honest, I haven't seen anything. Says, but I also didn't have any goods on me. Closest thing that would be kind of strange, I suppose, would be just last night as I was pulling up here to come up to dock in the morning here. Says there was this great large light, like a fluorescent bulb or something beneath the surface of the water. Kind of swam around the ships a few times, then disappeared. I'd say probably about maybe 3 miles down the river. We were moving pretty slow. I couldn't tell what it was. I didn't see any shadows of what this was or anything. Just this bluish sort of glow. And he kind of holds his hand up. It's about the size of a watermelon. He kind of justifies it as. And says, went around the ship maybe 4 or 5 times and then back down into the depths. He says, beyond that, he says, I ain't never seen anything like it, but that's about the only thing I've seen strange. And it didn't bother us any. Says, my guess is somebody's just trying to blackmail the Autarch and maybe kind of raid the ships. Probably just bandits. Says, I don't think we'll have any problems. And I know the river like the back of my hand. Says, it'll be a little rough riding. River's high. But beyond that, we'll be just fine. Says, I suggest you to have a few bites to eat before we head out, though. You don't want to go on the river with an empty stomach.
Thank you, Chandler.
Yeah, I would nod and kind of look expectantly, kind of implying that I have no idea where we get food from.
He just kind of waves his hand over the side. He says, well, there ain't nobody under the tavern. He says, the kitchen's over there. Gather up whatever you want. You kind of swing open the door of the kitchen. You can see there's food kind of scattered all over. Looks like they have a pot roast going. There's the old pig, kind of suckled pig on the spit that's roasting over top of a fire. Potatoes and fruits and cheeses, everything kind of lined up. Looks like this place is probably pretty decent, had anybody not been dead in it.
Male or female pig?
Just for your sake, it'll be a male pig.
I will cut off some pieces of the pig to eat and just keep.
I avoid going anywhere near the pig once I see that the goblin is going towards it. I'll just be avoiding it like the plague. So I'm feeling distinctly vegetarian.
As you guys kind of get your fill and stuff, you kind of chat back and forth with this old captain. It seems he's been doing this, working on the river now for damn near 20 years, he tells you, and hasn't really seen too much. He always took jobs kind of leading ships and mostly as a guide for the river. He does a lot of fishing on the river. He used to take out hunting trips and fishing trips and stuff like that. But otherwise, he kind of stumbled into this job for the Autarch. He kind of looked him up, and he needs the money. He's hoping that he can retire with his mate and missmate, and that they could have a nice little family and farm out on the outskirts of the city. And, this is his one chance to get that money and retire to the good life. So as he kind of walks back towards the docks with you guys and stuff, he points out the ship. You can see it's a pretty nice looking ship. It's obviously a trade merchant ship. You can see the cargo area has been loaded up with all these crates. It has a nice big mast, and it kind of shows the new Nessus symbol, which sort of looks like an inverted triangle with 2 lines up above on the flat end. He says, well, we're headed out in just a few moments. He says, why don't you guys go ahead and get your stuff packed away, and we'll be heading on out. Any last-minute calls you boys need?
During the meal, I would have been watching to see how Mate and Vishmay eat.
They're not there. They're down on the ship.
Oh, okay.
No, let's go.
So the ship kind of sets out. You can see that the river is awfully high with these storms that have been rolling through. Right now it seems a little bit clear, but you can see the clouds starting to get dark again as another storm gets ready to kind of pass through. The river of New Nessus is really massive. It looks like it's probably a good 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles from shore to shore. From the stories you guys have heard, I don't know if anybody has any sort of background in sailing or anything like that, but the river is supposed to be damn near 500 yards deep, if not more. Some people said they've never found the bottom of this thing when trying to fish. There's a lot of rumors that ships have kind of been sunken down into this thing, never to be found, and that there's supposed to be some sort of draconic layer deep below the surface of this place. There's a lot of rumors and everything, but otherwise, I mean, it just looks like a really big river. The whole top of this river is kind of littered with debris right now, though you can see tons of limbs and garbage. A couple bodies even float by, which are rotted beyond castration, so don't worry. They don't look anybody you recognize as well. But the whole thing just kind of rocks back and forth as you set out on the ship. By the time everything gets moving around, it's been a couple hours. Fairly relaxing for the most part, but this next storm starts to come through, and you can see the waves start picking up. Captain Smeel makes his mates head down. He's thirsty to button down the masts and getting everything tightened up. Says, you boys might want to get below decks. He says, storm's coming in unless you think you got legs long enough to, support you up here on the top. It's your call.
I would very quickly, after hearing the legs long comment, would be getting under below decks.
He says, and why don't? He says, shit. And his voice kind of stuts, and you can see that he grabs the mast or this wheel. His knuckles really white as he kind of strains to hold onto this thing. The side of the ship gets this huge thud against the side of this thing. It kind of spins it to the side just a little bit as a wave kind of comes up over the hull. I need agility checks from everybody with 1 bane.
Okay. Claire.
Oh.
I rolled a 9.
I'm going swimming. 6.
A 9, a 6, and Josh.
He's good as you can roll with a bane.
Yeah.
And oh geez, you got a good one. Okay. So Ashley, as you kind of brace yourself, you're able to kind of catch it. When you see in the corner of your eye, this huge, looks to be part of a tree trunk smashes up against the side of the ship. The whole thing rocks a moment, and as it kind of spins, one of these waves kind of crash across the deck. You're able to kind of grab this mast rope that's next to you and hang on as the water kind of passes you by. But you see both Grazgul and Rivel just caught in this wave as they swing over the side. Grazgul, you kind of smash into the side of the ship. Take 1 point of damage as you kind of arches your back. It just kind of smashes into the side. Rivel, you're not quite so lucky, though. As this wave kind of hits you, you just completely swept off your feet as you're trying to dive beneath deck here. This water just kind of comes up and crashes over top of you. Next thing you know, you guys can see Rivel in the water down below the ship, just kind of splashing around. I need a strength check from you, Rivel. See if you can swim.
I'm even stronger than I am. Do I have a bane or anything?
Nope, just a straight up strength. You don't have any professions that really help. You're not a professional swimmer.
8 minus 2, 6.
All right. So as these rapids kind of come over top, you see Revel just get sucked below the surface. He, comes back up a few moments later, a little bit further ahead of the ship, and then gets sucked down below again. What do you guys do?
Would I be aware of everything that happened?
Yeah, you could have seen it. Yep. Same with Grazgul. You both seen, everything that happened, and then you can see Rivel out in the distance, just a little bit up ahead of the ship, just kind of floundering around trying to swim, which he's apparently not very good at.
Is there any type of buoy or life protector or
Yeah,
anything?
there's buoys and those circular ship ring things, whatever they're called, on the ship. Yep.
Yeah, I would pick one up and then look like I'm about to toss it overhand like a girl, and then hand it to someone who can probably throw better than me.
Grazgul, what do you do?
I try to recover and climb back on.
All right. Why don't you give me a strength check? You can give yourself one boon though. See if you can climb back on and stabilize yourself.
14 is the base, and
So
his strength is 14 plus 4.
So 14, so yeah, definitely. As long as it's 10 or higher, you're good. So, yep, you can kind of swing back over top of this thing, securing your gear on you. Don't seem like you're too bad. Just kind of got scuffed up a little bit when you hit the side. As you kind of look down, though, you see Rivel on the side and Ashley trying to hand you this buoy ring. You see Mate and Miss Mate over to the side, just kind of trying to hold down the masts that are kind of starting to whip back and forth. And Captain Smeal is just holding on to the wheel as tight as he can, trying to right the ship at the moment.
So what would be my ability to cast a spell? I'm assuming that requires me to talk, so I'm assuming it's pretty much impossible for me to cast a spell consistently.
Yeah,
I'm
basically
drowning.
you'd be making concentration check, which is an intelligence.
Okay.
In this case, I would say 2 Banes.
Okay. To see if I'm able to cast a spell.
Yeah,
okay.
correct.
I'll try that. So 2 Banes is I take the highest one?
Yep, roll 2 dice
Or is
6s
it-
and take the higher one.
Yeah, okay. 15 minus 6, 9 plus 4, so 13.
Oh, that's a success then, because your target number is always 10.
Okay. So I'm able to cast a spell. I will cast I'll cast fetch then on the dinghy, or the kind of round thing they're trying to throw me.
Okay.
Do I need to roll anything for that, or does it just?
Nope, just does.
Okay, so it kind of, you just see him go fully underwater, and then one tiny little hand kind of reaches out of the water and just kind of clenches a fist, and as you're about to throw the ring, it just disappears and then reappears in his hand, and he kind of fights his way on top of it, sort of breathing heavily, but still sort of getting thrown about.
Yeah, when you get stuck down below the water, you can see that it's really murky and nasty, but just right around you see this dark form. It looks probably about your size, maybe a little bit bigger, swim past. You get the sense that it's something sort of humanoid shape, and you're pretty sure you saw this yellow, palish sort of eye look at you. Behind that, you can suddenly feel like this sharp jab in the side. Take 1 point of damage as you feel like this, almost like a spear or something, kind of puncture your side, and then you see this form kind of swim off again back towards where the ship is as you come back up out of the water. The buoy has a rope on it, so you got a rope. I guess Ashley would be holding the other end of it at the moment. There's this buoy ring that's kind of out to where you are. As you look at the ship, they kind of stare out at you at the moment, but you can see 4, they look like some sort of fishy sort of humanoid creatures come up around the base of the ship and start scaling up the side of it. What would you guys like to do? Those of you on the ship don't see these things at the moment.
I would just
I will try to attack it.
All right. Ashley, did you want to do anything else?
If I don't see these things, I would just be trying to pull him in.
Yeah, I'm just holding on for dear life.
All right, yeah, so they can start pulling you in. It'll take 2 rounds for you to pull him all the way in. So,
Okay.
Who would like to go fast?
Me.
But we already know what I'm doing.
All right, Ashley, fast or slow? If you went slow, you could move and pull him in, but it's going to take an action to actually pull him in.
Yeah, if I'm just going to be pulling him in, then I might as well go fast.
And Grozgul, fast or slow?
Fast, of course.
Alrighty. So you all want to go fast. So what would you like to do?
I'll be holding on for dear life. That's all I'm just holding on.
Give yourself a strength check as these waters and everything just kind of cascades against you. You get the debris. Give yourself 2 boons, though, since you have the buoy.
That's a 4, which on the d20, my boon is higher, which is a 5. So 9 minus 2 is 7.
Oh, because so, Ashley, as you're trying to hold on to this thing, you start to pull it in a little bit, but you see this little fishy sort of head crown up next to Rivel. You can see it has these large scales kind of cascade down its face. It has a couple spikes that go down the side of its hull, and it has a couple large spikes on its shoulders. When it lifts its arms out of the water, you can see that it's holding a spear and these webbed sort of fingers. That thing is going to go fast and attack Rivel. You don't get your agility to your defense at the moment, Rivel.
Okay.
So it's 11.
So it's 11, right.
And yeah, I got a 21. So
Just about.
3 to 5. 8 points of damage, Rivel, as this thing just kind of brings that spear up and just jabs down into your collarbone. You can feel it slink down through your collarbone and into your breast as it kind of rips it free. Bits of your flesh and muscle kind of tear it out with the barbs of this thing. It lets out this weird, gurgly sort of laugh and then disappears beneath the surface again. Grozgul and Ashley, what would you guys like to do?
This might be it, guys.
Can't he let go of the buoy? Is that what happened when he failed his strength?
No, I just use that as taking action on my end to have the critter attack him.
Oh, okay.
So he still has it.
All right, yeah, then I'm still pulling him in. I will realize that it gets a little bit heavier with like the tension, almost like he's on a fishing lure. But like snagging it as I get this bite. But yeah, I'm just pulling him in.
All right. He'll be in next turn as long as you pull him in. Grozgul, when you kind of look around, you can see 4 of these creatures scaling up the side of the ship. They're out of melee range at the moment, but you can see them coming up the side of the ship if you want to do anything.
Then I run over and chop their hands off as they try to climb on board.
All right. Make your normal attack. Whatever weapon you want to use.
Axe.
Good choice.
12. And if I remember correctly...
You get 1 Bane on that. Oh, yeah, plus your 4, so 16. Well, it won't matter if you don't have Bane anyway, because it'll still be 10. Yeah, these things' defense is a 10. So, yeah, as one of them kind of reaches up over the edge of the ship, getting ready to pull its on, you completely sever its arm right off. Go ahead and roll damage for that.
$11 points of damage.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of swing your axe across as this thing kind of reaches up. You completely sever its left arm off, and you just cleave right into its chest area before your axe just kind of stops, like it hits some sort of the breastbone or something hard in there. You kind of rip her free in the splayer bud. This thing kind of falls back into the water. You can see it starting to sink down to the surface, this pool of red kind of cascading out. Captain Smeal, tries moving the ship and stuff. You can see that he's fighting against this thing, and he kind of shakes his head. He's like, there's something below deck. Somebody get down there and check it. And he kind of points over to you, Grozgul. He's like, the mates can get these things. Go see what's on the rudder. And he kind of points to the back of the ship, and you can see this little hatch that's back there. He says, I think they got a hold of the rudder. They're going to take the ship if we can't stop them.
And I run towards the rotor.
All right. The other ones are just going to take slow climb action. So the other 3 you can see start climbing up the side of the ship, and they kind of pull themselves over the top of this thing. Ashley, you can see 3 of them. One is kind of in front of you, kind of staring at you, and then one on either side of you. Off in the distance, you can see another one kind of bob up out of the water next to where Rivel is, and kind of start swimming towards him. So that's the end of the round. So new round. Who would like to go fast?
How close are they to me?
About 15 feet.
So, if I take a slow action, will they be able to attack me before I go?
Yeah, because you guys are going to go. Well, two of them are going fast.
All right.
One on, but yeah, one of them would end up being able to reach you. Yes.
All right. Then I'm going to take a fast action.
Okay. Grozgul, fast again, I assume.
Correct.
Actually,
I'll go first.
if you want to, Grozgul, if you want to head back to where the rudder is, you'd have to go slow because you have to move, and then you'd have your action.
That's fine.
And Rivel, what was that?
I'll go first again.
All right. So Rivel and Ashley, you guys are up.
I'll hold on for dear life again.
All right. Give me a strength check.
Okay, that's a 15.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to hang on as Ashley kind of pulls you in. You hit the side of the ship, and you can see he starts lifting you up.
I'm not going to pull him in.
Okay. Well, you held on a little bit. So as you kind of get to the edge of the ship, Rivel, the line kind of goes slack as he stops pulling at the moment.
Ashley, now being in danger, he has this impulse of somebody has to live to tell the tales. And so, as his action, he's going to drop the rope, and you'll just hear him like almost like an opera singer, his voice just vibrato, and then all of a sudden he becomes invisible. He's casting Witch Fire, and I don't know if any of them would be close enough for this attack to hit. But
let me check. I think it has
I think it's 10 yards.
10 yards. As soon as the one moves, actually they're all gonna move. So yeah, they will. So yeah, and next turn you would be able to, because I mean you can move it to 10 yards this turn if you want, or you can hold on to it. It's up to you.
So even if I use a fast action, I can still move it to attack.
In this case, yeah, because it's part of the spell.
Yeah, then I will. Yeah, you'll see me disappear, and you'll just see like this green, glowing light, kind of move toward one of these fishmen, and I will try to get this fire to attack it. Use a will attack.
A will attack against its agility. Agility is a 12.
And I can use my trickery as a rogue and get a boon.
Yep.
All right.
Which in turn adds another 1d6 damage if you use it.
All right. So I will use it. So it's a d20 plus a boon.
Yep, d20 plus, I think it's what, will? I don't know if you have a will modifier.
I get plus 2. Yeah.
1d20 plus 2, and then plus a boon.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's over 20. And so I'll get another d6 on top of that.
Trickery plus a d6, so 4d6.
Yeah. And then, oh my gosh. Oh, I am a hero right now. So I'm going to roll damage, but then I also have something called Exploit Opportunity, which is if my attack rolls 20 or higher, I can take another turn whenever I want.
Yep.
All right. So I get
4d6 to start with.
Yep. That's 11.
Like, that'll take one of them out. So you see one of them just kind of, as you move in this ball, it kind of cascades around this thing and just kind of erupts in green flames. By the time you start to move away, this orange or this green ball starts to move away. It's just like this pile of steaming fish stew.
Yeah, and then I can take this turn whenever I want. So can I just go and take it right now?
Yep.
All right. Invisibly, you will see this rope slowly raise up again. And I will use this other action to actually pull the halfling back aboard the boat.
All right.
That was a pro play. That was as pro as you get. See, I knew that was going to happen all along. I didn't leave you out to die.
So yeah, the rope kind of goes slack for a few moments there, Rivel, and you can see this spear just bury itself right beside your head into the deck of the ship. And this little fish-like creature comes up behind you. You can see that it pulls out this wicked-looking barbed dagger type thing. Just as it's starting to kind of reach in to stab into you, you can feel the sudden jerk as you get lifted up to the edge of the ship and up over the edge of it. Right beside you is this large pile of fishy goo, and that's still kind of smoldering a little bit, and this great ball of flame that's kind of moving across the deck. You can see the rope being held in the middle of the air, but you don't see Ashley there or anything, but you can see it's like being held by something invisible. You are up if you want to take your fast action.
Yeah. So
there's two fish guys on the deck, both about 15 feet away from you at the moment, and one down in the water below.
So kind of, he would be panicking. He wouldn't be thinking about, casting a spell or anything like that. He is just going to take his, well, I don't know if he still has his staff, but he's just going to try and use whatever he has to essentially kick one of them back into the water, or push it, or smack it, or whatever. 13.
Yep. Defense is a 10, so yep. And damage.
Oh, max 7.
Nice. So you clap one of these things right across the skull. You can see it kind of opens up this nice wound. It bleeds this reddish green color, kind of spills down the side of its face. It shakes its head a little bit, but then just turns and lunges in towards you. It's going to take its fast action to attack you.
This might be it.
Nope, I got a 9 total, so you're good. The other one that you can see kind of just starts making a run behind the Minotaur, following him down into the back end of the ship where the rudder is. And the one on the outside, you can see start climbing up this rope that's still hanging over the side or part of the rope mast and stuff that's hanging over the side of the ship. He starts climbing up the side of that. So they'll take move actions. So Grosgul, you are up. As you kind of pass down into the lower part of this deck in the back, you can see where the rudder is against the far wall. And you can see this 3-pronged trident's been jabbed into it, not allowing it to actually move or do anything, which is causing the ship to kind of go haywire and spin to the side. Every now and then it yanks back and forth as the captain's wheel kind of twists on the wheel trying to get this thing loose. There's 2 of these fish guys standing in front of you, kind of staring back at you, trying to block you from reaching this trident. The whole ship... Let's see if he passes his agility. No. The whole ship rocks for just a moment. I need agility checks from all of you.
I just get up there. I'm going to go back in. Watch this. Oh, are you kidding me? I rolled a 4.
I rolled a 2.
Plus 3 is 7.
7. And...
I also failed.
All right. All of the whole ship kind of rocks back and forth a little bit, and another wave hits this thing as Captain Smeals tries to keep it under control, but not being able to move this rudder or steer it, the whole ship just kind of lurches back and forth. You are all considered prone at the moment, which means you have to take a move action to get up. Otherwise, anything you do has a bane, and anybody that does anything to you has a boon. So you have to go slow. Grosgul, you're going slow anyway, so if you wanted to take the move action to stand up, you can still make your attack.
I will do that.
All right. So, yeah, go for it. You can. There's 2 of them standing in front of you, and you can hear one coming down the steps behind you.
What would a natural 20 get me?
You have the ability to crit. Yours, it's going to do. You attacking with your great axe.
Of course.
Yep, 4d6. So it's going to add another 1d6 to it. So 5d6.
$24, $25, $26, $27, $28, $29, $30, $31, $32, $33, $34, $35 points of damage.
So these 2 of them in front, as you kind of swing your axe across, you seem to have like no interest in waiting for these guys. You just do that quick sweep across. They both kind of slough in half and plop to the ground. Bits and pieces as you kind of stumble forward. As you kind of jam your axe in there, you can pull this trident free, and you can see the ship, the rudder starts to spin a little bit, and the ship starts to right itself out as Captain Smeal gets this.
How big is the trident? Is it about as tall as me, or?
Yeah, these guys are smaller, so this one's only probably about 3 foot long. It's probably more of a fork for you.
Then I put in the side of my belt as my new eating utensil.
All right.
That amount of damage would kill me 2.5 times.
I like this Minotaur. I'm planning to use a fillable character sheet and make sure I use him again.
Behind you, you can hear the footsteps of this thing kind of coming up behind you. There's one left behind you. He's going to take his attack on you. 22, so that'll be a hit. Ooh, and 9 points of damage to Grazgul. This one kind of comes up behind you. It just buries that serrated dagger into your back before letting out this Lord Screechy sort of sound, and you can see it running back away from you and up the stairs, like back towards the deck, leaving its serrated blade buried into your back. And
For how many points of damage?
9. And that's the end. So everybody is up. Who wants to go fast? If you are prone at the moment, you have to go slow.
Do I have to make a con save to keep my invisibility? Or
On your turn is your action, yes, unless you're planning on letting it go.
well, I'm talking about just because I fell down.
Just from that, no, not until your turn. No, if you take damage, you would, though, yes. You didn't take any damage.
I'll go slow then, yeah.
So Isley is slow, Rivel has to go slow. So Grazgul, you're the only one that's up if you want to go fast. As you kind of turn around, you'd have to go slow to catch that one that's running away from you, though. Unless you wanted to charge.
Yeah, let's charge. Well,
Right.
the hell, I'm a Minotaur. That's what we do.
All right, so go fast. You are going to get, it'll be your 1d20 plus 4 minus 1 Bane.
So I will roll a d20. That's a 17. Roll 2 d6s, correct?
Yep.
Roll 2 d6s. That will be 4.
17 plus 4. Yeah, that's a hit, definitely. Yep, so you kind of, take these huge lumbering steps behind this little fish guy who's starting to run up the steps and catch up to him. He only has 2 hit points of damage, so you're going to kill him no matter what, so you can describe what you do.
Ram him with the horn, and he's still hanging from my horn when this is all said and done. Because
So you guys see Grazgul, this huge lumbering beast of a Minotaur, come up out of the decks. He has this fish guy kind of hanging off one of his horns. Covered in blood, he has a serrated dagger kind of sticking out of one of his shoulder blades. And Ashley and Rivel, you guys are up.
Okay, I'm going to get up.
Okay.
And I'm going to use spell recovery
Alrighty.
at some point.
how many are still left where they're at?
There's one left on the deck, which is the one that just climbed over, so he hasn't been hit or anything. He would be next to Ashley and Rivel down at the front towards the deck.
So I heal 3 damage and gain a spell back.
Yeah.
That I've used.
You can pick whatever one you want to use. And Ashley, what would you like to do?
All right. I guess I will stand back up, and is this last guy within 10 yards?
Yep.
All right. I will try to move this green ball of fire towards him, still with the scent of his, of the burning scales of his previous ally on it.
Yeah.
And once again, I'll use my, I forgot what it's called. Whatever gives me the boon.
Trickery. Yep.
Trickery, yep.
Agility that you're going against is a 12.
All right. I will 8 plus 4 plus 2.
Yep.
14. All right. And then this one will only do 3d6.
3d6.
12 attack.
That'll take that one out too. So this one just kind of erupts in this greenish sort of flame, and all that's left is that another puddle of this sickening, nasty, briny-looking glue that kind of spills across the floor of the deck. With that, you can see Captain Smeo finally get the ship under control a little bit. The waves and everything kind of crash around a little bit. When you look out across the river, you can see 3 more of these little fish guys kind of bobbing in the distance, about 30, 40 yards out in front of the ship. They kind of hold their spears up, kind of like in taunting you a little bit. And then you see another one kind of pop up, and it launches it has like a little crossbow thing. You can see it launches it and it buries it into the side of the deck. And then they all kind of disappear down below the water. Ashley, since you're close to the deck, as you kind of look over where they dropped this little bolt into the side of it, you can see that it has this little orangish sort of light on the front of it, and the whole thing just all of a sudden explodes, blowing apart the front of the ship. I need an agility check from you, Ashley, with 3 Banes.
I am not going to make that.
Nope. So as soon as you peer over, this thing just kind of explodes. You can see bits of the hull in front of the ship just kind of blow apart. Those of you who can see Ashley up in front of you see the little goblin kind of step back and then this explosion go off. You can see his small little form just kind of fly through the air and land next to your feet. 11 points of damage that you will take.
Woohoo! Okay.
You can see that his fancy clothes are now all completely singed. Some of it's been kind of melted in with his flesh. And yeah, I was going to suggest a break too. So, the Captain Smeal just kind of, you can see that he spins the wheel over and he, heads straight for the shore. The ship kind of lurches a little bit and kind of starts to sink in the water. He's able to get it over to the shore quick enough, and the mates, both of them hop off the ship and start pulling it aboard a little bit, kind of using a winch to pull it onto the shoreline enough so it doesn't start to sink. All of them, they kind of get off, and when you look at the ship, the whole front end is just completely destroyed. It's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Captain Smeal just kind of stares at the ground and shakes his head and says, well, we'll have to think about this a moment. And he kind of plops down and puts his head in his hands to start thinking. So yeah, let's take a quick break, guys.
Okay.
I am back. I'm the first. Okay, here's an idea, right? If you're watching this and you're watching it for BrigadeCon or you're watching it at some other time, go get a D6, roll it, and donate that much.
If you're really ballsy, you take a D100.
Yeah. Yeah.
There.
Yeah. Yeah. So get the people on your side. Yeah. Oh man, this system is really fun. I really like it.
I really enjoy the system a lot.
Yeah.
Do you
I
play
kind of threw
often?
this is mainly the game that I run the most of.
Okay, good. You need to add me so I can do more
Yeah,
horrendous
definitely,
things.
for sure, man. There's like in the book, there's a lot of other little actions you can take, like disarming things and stuff like that. I didn't want to get into like all the advanced rules, but I mean, everything's pretty easy, like it has been.
Yeah.
You can add some more crunch, and there's a lot of like optional rules and stuff which I'll use, like greater damage and stuff like that. But it's a really, really flexible system. And as far as I know, Rob Schwab, the guy who's doing it, I think it comes out at the beginning of the new year, but he's basically making like a post-apocalyptic Mad Max version of the same system. Sort of
Oh, that's
played
very
by the
cool.
Shadow of the Demon Lord idea using Mad Max. Looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then there's a sci-fi one coming out the year after.
Jeez.
That works for me. Will there be mini missiles? I am famous for mini missiles.
So you could have a biker minotaur with a great axe and missiles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Andrew Nett will be laughing himself ridiculous if he heard that. He'd be like, "Yep, that's what apocalypse."
That's right. Yeah, I scaled everything down too since Josh Hayes wasn't able to get his network back up and running because he had your assassin with your like huge damage outputs. So you might make it through alive.
Ooh. That one, like, lucky over 20 roll might have saved that encounter.
Yeah, for a big chunk of it, definitely.
That was the Demon Lord rewarding me for playing my character.
I 100% thought that was it though.
Well,
I took 9 damage out of 14 in one, or 8 damage out of 14 in one hit. So it's like, if I take another hit, that's it. Like, I'm just dead.
well, I just took that much damage and like.
You are playing with my life.
Well, if I'm gonna play my character's trait of collecting
Nice.
genitalia, I'm gonna play his trait of only looking out for himself.
Yeah, I am not criticizing your roleplay of your character in any way. I love it.
You like that 3-chord reference?
Because it's just true.
Have you seen the Axis of Awesome
Yeah.
thing?
Oh yeah. I think everybody has a healing potion. If not 2, some of you might have 2. They do your healing rate, so keep those in mind too.
Okay, so that's what heal rate means?
Yep, that's whatever you heal whenever you get a heal rate. Like right now, since you're kind of decked, you'll be able to take a short rest, which means you're going to get healed your heal rate.
And then we can use a healing potion on top of that to get...
Yep, if you want to. So you can see Captain Smeal just kind of sits down on the docks. His 2 mates kind of scurry over and sit down on a log behind him and kind of sit quietly. He stares up at the ship, and you can see like the front end of this thing is just completely mangled. It's not going anywhere soon. The shore of the bank that you're on is fairly cleared out. It looks like it's kind of a common place for people and ships to kind of stop and take rest. You can see that there's been an old fire pit that's made. Behind you is pretty much just woods that kind of expands out around you. But the front of the ship is just kind of blowing apart. You can see that it kind of sinks forward a little bit into the water. All the cargo and everything is kind of spilled off to the side of it. Some of it you can see floating down the river. Overhead, when you kind of glance up, you can see that the sun is starting to set on the horizon. It's about 7 p.m.-ish or so at night. And it's just getting ready to sit down. Captain Smeal stands up. He's like, well, we're going to have to set watch for the night. We can't do anything in the middle of the night on the river. It's more danger than it's worth. This is a safe place. I've camped here many times, just a couple nights ago, in fact. Let's hang out for the night. In the morning, I can send my mates back, and, they can maybe bring another ship down or something. You can see both of them nod, like, really happily, their eyes wide, to be given a chance to, kind of impress whoever the captain is or whatever he might be for them. They hurry off, and they can see that they're starting up a little fire in this little ring and getting everything going. And you can see they scurry onto the ship, and then when they come back out, they have a large pot filled with different vegetables and meats that they set on there, filling it up with some water from the river to start up a stew. The captain kind of comes over and is like, you fellas quite impressed me. I wish I would have been able to help you out, slay them little fish bastards, but I had to keep the ship under control. It's a pain in the ass, I must say. These waters are a little bit beyond my skill. I hate to admit it, but once we get back, we might want to wait till the river calms down before we decide what to do. It says, let's take the night. We'll have some stew. We're going to want to set a watch if there's more of those creatures out there. It says, I'd be happy to help out on the watch if you need anything else. He says, thank you again for helping protect the ship, you guys. I'll be sure to pass the word to Autark-Urian and tell him about your brave Minotaur friends' battles and cleaving these creatures in half. It's a hell of a job you did, man.
As I look at her, looks like I'm going to be getting everything.
I have a mechanical question. That's all right.
Yeah.
If one of our abilities gets, we can't use it until we take a rest. Does this short rest we're about to do count as a rest?
Yes. Yep.
All right.
So yeah, some of them are used once per rest, or like Rob, your character will get his spells back.
Yeah, all of them, or one of each?
All of them, because it's actually going to be a long rest, stay in the night.
Okay, so, and what does a long rest do healing-wise?
It'll do your healing rate plus 1d6.
Okay.
All right. And, yeah, you'll see me when I get my cup of stew. I will take out a very dried piece of genitalia that's been resting for probably months in the salt. And you'll see me with my knife very carefully begin shaving it into my broth. Just like, the old Asian traditions teach you that this will give you energy, vitality, and even healing properties. And this will be me using nimble recovery.
All right.
So
nice.
I'll get that on top of my rest stuff.
I just shake my head.
Yeah. I'm just avoiding him like the plague. Because I know potentially what could be going on. I just don't want to even think about it.
As you kind of doing this and you have your jar out, Ashley, you see one of these mates, Miss Mate, in fact, kind of hurry over, and he kind of looks over what you're doing, and he gives you a bit of a nod, and he kind of goes like this and kind of points at these one that might be carved up a little bit, sort of like a ring a little bit, points to his ring, and then he kind of nods and then points over at Captain Sneasley.
I just kind of like nod back at him, not understanding whatsoever what he's saying.
You see, he gets a little bit flustered, and he thinks, and he's like, points to the ring, and then points his finger, and kind of goes, and then points back over at Captain Sneasley.
He says, "No, thank you. I already have a lover."
And he kind of throws his hands up a little bit and walks back over and sits down next to his other friend mate there, and you can see that they kind of look back and forth, and they nod, and they kind of move their hands like they're talking a little bit or something with like a sign language or something. The other one gets up and comes over, and he pulls out this little pad of paper, and he writes it down. When he shows it to you, he says, he'd like to buy a ring for the captain.
And you'll see me just open up the jacket, and I'm rather poor, so that I can't afford much. But you see a pretty good selection of bedazzled, dehydrated genitalia that's carved to different bracelet and ring size.
Yep, you can see it kind of goes through this thing as you kind of hold your jacket open and pawn off some of these items. He takes out one of these rings, kind of has like a little gemstone in it you might have made up, and make sure it fits okay and stuff, and kind of nods and kind of pulls out his money purse and kind of holds it towards your direction. You can see it's basically just a bunch of coppers, and he just kind of nods for you to take whatever you need.
Yeah. I will take just 3 or 4 coppers. This being the first one that I've ever sold for some reason. And
right.
And I'll just kind of nod back at him and hand him his money pouch and the ring.
Yeah. Yeah. Since you take 3 coppers, he takes one more out and gives you the 4th one and stuff, and puts his money back, and then hurries over to his mate, and you can see they're talking about it. The one that originally came over to you takes it up and hurries over, and you can see that he kind of goes down on one knee and hands this ring up to the captain with a bit of a nod. The captain just kind of shakes his head and takes it and puts it on his hand. You can see that all of his ring hands and fingers are kind of adorned with all these different rings at this point. And he kind of gives the little captain mate there, Miss Mate, a pat on the head and sends him back to work on the stew. By now, the sun's pretty much set. You can see the moon's kind of coming up on the horizon a little bit. It's casting this. The moon here is actually red, so it's kind of casting this pale reddish sort of glow across the land. The fire kind of dies down a little bit, and you can see the two mates are fast asleep over in the corner. The captain kind of moves over. He's like, I got to get some rest, fellas, if I got to figure out how to get this thing back tomorrow. He says, would you like me to take a watch, or can you guys handle it? And I'd be happy to give you a few coins if you want to take watch for the night.
Sounds good.
I believe that I will take first watch.
All right. Who would like the second?
I have shadow sight, so I guess my dark vision is a little bit better. So
Okay.
I'll take second when it's probably darkest.
First,
I'll take the last one then.
All right. So, Grazgold, as the night kind of passes, you don't really see too much kind of going on. Out in the river, you can hear the sloshing of the river kind of going by, and you can see a lot of debris and other shit kind of go through. But otherwise, everything goes pretty smoothly for the first 3 or 4 hours of your watch, and you kind of hurry over to wake Ashley up so you can get your own sort of sleep. Ashley, pretty much the same thing. The night goes on without too much of a problem. There was one point where you did get to see there was like a blue sort of orb in the water. You could see that it popped up for a few moments. It was only there for maybe 3-4 seconds before it disappeared back beneath the surface and then was gone. You didn't see it again for the rest of the night.
I'll admit, I was pretty distracted. Now that I've actually sold, I think I have an enterprise on my hands. And so I was crafting more merchandise with these fake gems and glitter, carving integral designs in the side.
So yeah, besides, seeing that orb, maybe cast a little more light on your work spot there for you a moment so you can get a good look at what you were doing. That kind of disappeared beneath the surface later on. By the time, Rivel, you kind of get up to get watch and stuff, you can see it's probably getting fairly early. The horizon off in the distance, you can just see that slightest pale of orange start to crop up, and you can hear a splash. When you look over, you see one of these fish guys crawling up out of the water. He kind of hunters down behind a bunch of these crates and stuff, and then you see this bright orange glow next to him. He lets out like this large, loud yippee sort of sound. In the distance, you can hear it echoed. And as you kind of stare out across the water, you see 3 more of these fish guys kind of pop up out of the water. And then behind them, you see this sort of looks like a mermaid-like creature kind of pull itself up onto a log that's starting to float by. These 3 little fish guys kind of grab the log to hold it in place as this female fish-like creature kind of pulls herself up on top to it. You see she's completely naked. She looks like a mermaid. The lower half's kind of fish. It's sort of this reddish-gray sort of color, kind of scaly. On the top half, she's naked, and you can see 6 breasts kind of hanging down over her bloated form as she pulls herself up and kind of flops into place. What do you do?
I try to kill it.
Is this me on watch or?
Yep, you're on watch at the moment. Everybody
Okay,
else is
so-
asleep for the moment.
Okay, so
Okay.
Yep.
I would immediately just start shouting and I'd be hitting the Minotaur and with my stick, just getting him to wake up, and then I'm gonna wake him up by just like smacking him, and then kind of in the process of that, I'm gonna cast swiftness on him again, and then just basically try and convey, that we're potentially under attack. So I would just kind of be like, just there, over there. While I'm kind of waking him up and
I literally like, what is it now?
fishmen, and just like, like pulling at him to get him out, but it's not doing anything.
And I roll back over like, I killed the last bunch. You can kill these little fuckers. And I toss him a trident.
There's a big one. Just
Big one. And I look at him like, what is it bigger than the other ones?
Yes. Look, and I'm like grabbing him by the horn, like, come on.
So I get up and I look at it. Is it bigger than the ones I've seen before?
Yeah, you can see this larger one that kind of pulls up. It's about 3 times the size, probably close to your size and weight, but very obese, and just these huge sagging breasts kind of hanging off of it. You can see that when it kind of lifts its hands up, the skin flaps kind of hanging underneath of its form, and it has looks like it has a lot more fingers than a normal creature should on each hand.
Okay, I'll go deal with it. And I, twist my neck back and forth. You hear the neck popping, the vertebrae. Then I take the time to prop my knuckles. I'm like, you could be more useful. As I look at the wizard.
I'll show how useful I am once we've dealt with this. Come on. I'm getting him up. And then once he starts getting up, I'm going around waking everyone else up as well.
Right.
I'm like, go start cooking me breakfast. I'll kill this soon enough. And I drag the axe behind me while it's like scratching up the ground. That's how I yawn at the beast. Okay, I'm going to kill you now.
So as you get everybody up and stuff, you can see this one is right on the shore, right on the ship of the deck, kind of crouched down behind these crates and stuff. As you start to walk forward, Grazgool, you can see that it has this little orange ball in its hand that it's kind of tucks down underneath these crates, and then it can dives off the edge of the ship into the water. The three other ones that are out there, along with this Madame Fish Lady, whatever you want to call her, kind of sits in a log. She's about 30 yards out into the water, so to get out there, you'd have to actually swim out there. You can see the one that kind of dives into the water, and then it kind of surfaces again out there next to her. So there's four of them kind of swimming in front of her on top of this log. She holds her hands up and kind of waves her fingers. Grazgool, I'm going to need an agility check from you with one boon.
Is this a challenge roll?
Yes.
I just rolled a natural 10.
All right. Then I'm going to use my triggered action.
Okay.
Boons are the good ones, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so like I'm kind of waking up, not really sure what's happening, but seeing, hearing this Minotaur begin yelling, I'm just gonna shout some words of encouragement, and he'll have 2 boons with this roll.
Nice. All right, so I'm gonna doing a 3d6 then and adding the highest one to your roll.
Okay. Roll the d20 again.
It's up to you. You can re-roll it if you want.
Because I won't fall on a 10, right?
No, you won't.
Then I'll save that for later.
Okay.
And then, so she's off in the water, so she's basically controlling the waves and everything else, correct?
Yeah, it looks like she's getting ready to cast some sort of spell or do something. But as soon as you kind of step forward, you can feel like the ground shake a little bit, and then this huge explosion off to your left is this little orange ball that thing set aside kind of blows apart. You'll succeed regardless with the 10 and the boons that he gave you. So you're able to not get hit by that blast. You kind of roll out of the way a little bit as this kind of blows apart what's left of the ship. Off to the side, you
and
can
how
see
far are we away from land?
You're right on land at the moment. You're on the shore.
Then I get up and I'm like, I'm not swimming out there to deal with this. I just start to walk off into the woods out of range. It's like, I don't swim. So if you want to kill that thing, go ahead. But my recommendation, you come in the woods where she can't hit us. And I just start, take my axe, put it over my shoulder, and walk into the woods. Like, the ship has been blown up, right?
Yep.
The ship is gone.
Yep.
I don't care about anything else. Like, the ship's gone. She's in the water. No. And then walk off into the woods.
Ashley and Rivel, what do you guys do?
I would like to cast, or I would like to use a scroll.
Okay.
So is that just my action?
Yep.
Yeah, like it's just like casting a spell. Okay. And I'm going to use the most metal scroll that's, I think, ever been made, called Hateful Defecation.
Hateful Defecation? What the heck is up with this game?
Get fucking ready. So he he will take the scroll out and kind of just start sort of scrumpling it up and chanting words. And as he does so,
I'm strumming hammer chords as this goes.
yeah. And as he does so, you see this kind of reddish black light sort of forming around his hands that then just, he clenches his fist and it disappears. But I'm casting it on the, obviously the big lady mer person. And I'll just read it to you. The target's guts twist and rumble noisily. If the target's health is 10 or less, it dies instantly, streams of blood and feces gushing from all of its orifices. If its health is higher than 10, I make an intellect attack roll against its strength. On a success, it takes some damage and becomes dazed. As its guts violently and spectacularly expel their contents.
Okay, I love this game. Everybody who's watching this, anybody know me? I need this game for Christmas.
If this damage incapacitates the target, excrement, organs, and blood explode from its body, which instantly brings about its death. Each creature within 2 yards of a point in the target space must make a will challenge roll. On a failure, it becomes impaired for a round.
So you're going to make a will, was it? Intellect attack.
I make an intellect attack, and I'm going to do it with a boon with my sorcery thing.
Okay. It's going against
that work for scrolls?
Yep, you can use it. Yep.
Okay, so I need to be at 13. Oh, that is a 13.
Yep, that's a hit then.
Okay, sweet. So I'm assuming its health is higher than 10.
Yes. So you're going to do the 1d6 plus 2.
Yep. That's max damage. That's 8.
8. And you're going to have 1 strain since you used that ability.
Yeah, 1 strain, which means I make a will save with 1 bane.
Bane. Yep.
Okay. 18 minus 2 is 16. Okay.
So you're good.
And so I have no strains anymore. No, I still have a strain.
You have 1, yeah. It just, once they expire, then they go.
That is such a clever mechanic.
So you're, and Ashley, you would be up, as you kind of look out across the river where this thing is floating, you can see it kind of rumbles and then it just lets out this loud ripper of a fart, and you see all this gas in the water. The log kind of skips across the water a few feet as it blows out its contents. You can see she vomits up this nasty stuff sort of into the water. Her head kind of whips around and she points directly at where Rivel is as she starts to say something. Ashley, you are up before she goes.
And I no longer have that scroll anymore.
Yeah.
It's just gone now.
Yeah.
God, that was awesome. I don't know how I can even compare to that.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to do. I should find out, like, in what context do I want to captivate a excreting fish lady. I just begin to, like, very quickly adorn myself with the finest jewelry I have. Trying to look very beautiful as the gems dazzle in the moonlight. And I begin playing my little ukulele. And this will be a song of captivation. She has to have a success on a will challenge roll.
Let's see. You don't have anything that'll add banes or boons, do you?
Not that I see.
I don't see any. Guidance. Nope. Okay. So will challenge roll. What is her will? That's her crappy stat.
Right.
Oh, 7, 8, 9. So that'll be a failure.
That is not good enough. All right. And so she can only take slow actions, and on her turn, if she's more than 10 yards away from me, she has to move toward me.
All right. So as you kind of finish off this spell and captivate her, you can see her hand kind of drop slowly and her eyes narrow a little bit. And you can see this big, wide-toothed grin of all these serrated little teeth kind of glow onto her face a little bit. And she motions her little fishmen to grab that log, and they start kind of swimming in your direction. They just keep swimming.
She's also dazed as well from the scroll.
Okay.
Because she's just shitting everywhere. Sorry, as a side note.
So yes, as they pull her on this log towards the shore, and she's leaving her feces and everything behind her in a trail, very captivating for Ashley, I would assume. They kind of get to the shore, and you can see they stand up and they just pull this huge log up to the shore. She slowly kind of pulls herself off this log and slowly starts wiggling up to you, Ashley. She's about 20 feet away from you at the moment. You can see that her huge bloated form really doesn't move very well on this ground. These four little fish guys that are next to her just kind of stare at her in confusion back and forth between the two, but they don't do anything yet. And she kind of wiggles like a maggot towards you across this land. So I don't need initiative yet. It's whatever you guys want to do.
She's on land now?
Yep, right on the shore. Yep, wiggling towards Ashley.
I'm going to run away from her, make her chase me, play hard to get.
I'm like, okay, now she's on land. Now I can kill her. And I walk back to the battle.
All right. Who would like to go fast then? Grasgool, I assume you did.
I would like to go fast.
Okay, Ribble and Ashley?
I'm slow. I'm running away.
All right. So, Grasgool and Ribble, you guys are up. What would you like to do?
I will proceed to in the close combat with the whatever this thing is and try to kill it.
Alrighty. Yeah, you within melee walking up to her, so you have to take it slow. So, yeah, if you want to make your attack, her defense is a 16.
16. Okay. Any bonuses I can throw in, or?
Well, your Great Axe is the best for damage, but that gives you a Bane. You have one boon by your weapon training, so it counters each other out. Otherwise, you got your hammer pick that you'd have one boon with. Your horns you'd have one boon with.
And the dark holler hide. Okay.
That's just your armor.
I'm going to try to kill her. And I'm going to try to... Yeah. Nope, that's not going to work. I rolled a 6.
All right. So you kind of charge in. When your axe comes down onto her, you can see that it kind of slices into her a little bit, but it's just loads and loads of fat on this thing. It doesn't even seem to phase her a little bit. She lets out this sort of screech and kind of swings in your direction, motioning with her hand. You can see all four of these little fish guys kind of start lunging in your direction. Rivel, you are still up.
Okay. I'm going to cast Division on her.
Rebel, do you have any fire spells?
No, I am more of a kind of disturb the fabric of reality type guy. I don't really do much.
There is a large bonfire type thing where the mates kind of set it up for the night that's still smoldering.
I will hold my action to next turn. Y'all may continue.
Yeah, I'll cast Division. Intellect attack roll.
On which one?
On the big fish lady.
The sexy fish lady. All right.
Yes.
Division is against the strength, which was a 13.
17 natural. So. Wait, what bonus do I get to that? Plus 3. No. Intelligence plus 4. Yes. So it's 21.
So that's 20 plus 2. So.
Yeah. So that's the 4d6 this time, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Extra 1d6. Sweet. Okay. 14 points of damage.
Nice. Oh, I can't math today. Here we go. So you can see all of her arms kind of fling out to the side, her tail kind of lengthen a little bit. As this kind of compresses her and stuff, she just completely empties her bowels across the land. Her body kind of contorts a little bit. Her arms kind of snap back awkwardly, and you can see they're kind of getting pulled out of joint a little bit. As your spell kind of finishes it off, she looks a little bit mangled. She's sitting in a pile of her own filth that's been expelled, but she's not pulled apart this time. Let's see, Ashley, you're going slow, so these 4 fish guys are going to go fast. I'm trying to attack the Minotaur that's right there. I got a 16, 5, 4. So 16 and a 17, those two will hit. So two of these guys, they kind of surround you on all sides, two, one in the front, one on either side, and one in the back. They have just these primitive-looking spears that they're jabbing into the side of you. Two of them seem to more like they're just trying to distract you and keep you off guard, as the other two just on either side both bury their spears right into your armpit area, right on your lats. You're going to take 7 points of damage as both of them kind of bury their spears in.
But my health is regenerated back to full from the rest, correct?
Yep, correct. Yep.
Okay.
So if I have 7 points of damage that you take, and I need a strength check from you with 1 bane.
Within the lyrics of the song Marty singing, I will once again use the guidance to give him 2 boons.
Okay. So that's going to be strength check with 1 boon.
I'm going to. Can I use the boon to reroll?
No, not for that case, no. It'll just be your 1d20 plus your strength modifier plus 1d6.
Okay, so I roll a 2 plus a d6. 4, 5, 6.
Plus your strength modifier. Your modifier is a +4, though, so that's a 10, so you make it out. Yeah, you can feel your body kind of tense up a little bit, and when they pull their spears away and you kind of get a look at them, you can see this black sort of sludge covering the ends of their spears. You can see it kind of dripping out of the wound that's still left there in between your fur and the flesh. You definitely know this is some kind of poison that they have on their spears. And that would be it for the fast. Ashley, you still have a slow action if you would like.
I'm going to try to keep playing my role like the Pied Pooper. And I would like to move and try to position myself, knowing that she has to come toward me.
Okay.
Maybe in some way that she will steamroll one of her own people to reach me.
Yeah, I can do that. Yep.
Do I have to do the... Does she get the challenge again?
No, I don't think so. As long as you concentrate, it lasts. As long as you don't attack her or do something offensive to her.
Right, yeah, so I'm just going to keep singing and position myself so that she has to come through her own to get to me.
All right. Yeah, so as you kind of can move out of the way, you can see that her whole form shifts and she just kind of maggots across the ground, flopping forward. One of these creatures kind of lets out a bit of a screech as she flops down on his foot and then kind of rises back up, getting ready to flop forward again. I'll just make an attack on. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, she kind of rises up. This thing lets out this weird gurgly thing. You can see its eyes just go wide as it kind of this big fat mermaid bitch kind of flops up forward, and then she just kind of flops down on top of him. You hear the squish sort of sound, and by the time she rises back up, he's nothing but an imprint that's been smashed into the ground. Yeah. And he's nothing left of this guy. She kind of rises up again and starts flopping in your direction. She's just going to move her 10 yards in your direction again.
Could a Minotaur get opportunity attack?
Yeah, because the 4 on him. Yeah. If you want to make a triggered action, you didn't use it. So, Grazgoy, you could get a free attack on her if you'd like.
All right. Will do. That will be a 13. And then, is it 4d6 or 5d6?
13. That was 13 on the d20, and then +4 for your strength.
Yeah.
Okay, so 17 total. Would it be a hit? Yeah, because your defense is 16. So yeah, it'd be the 46. Yep.
It'll be 10, 16, 17 points of damage.
So this time around, as she kind of flops down, you kind of swing your axe around, and you just completely bury it right into her back. She lets out this loud, screeching sort of sound and kind of roars and turns around, kind of like trying to swat the blade away as you pull it free. You can see the blood and gore just kind of start sifting out of her back as you laid a powerful blow on her this time. Her slow action is just to keep wiggling towards Ashley. So that's be the end of the round. Start of the new round. When she kind of stares at you, Ashley, you get this sense that something isn't quite right. She kind of shakes her head a few times. When she looks back up, you can see this really angry visage sort of thing kind of cross her face, and you can realize that your spell seems to have no effect on her all of a sudden, and she seems to somehow break this captivation that she had on you. She is going to take a beginning of the round action before you can do anything. She lifts her whole body up a little bit, and when she kind of reaches out her hands towards you, Ashley, I need a will save with 2 Banes.
And I don't think I have anything that will help me.
Look at your professions and see if they have anything in there. No.
-1.
Oh, that's even greater. All right, I need a 1d100 roll. And then, yeah, you can see when she reaches her hand out, it feels like almost like she just kind of grabs a hold of you. And guys that kind of look over and see Ashley, you see him kind of fling through the air and just kind of smash into their chest of these things, kind of buried by her rolls of fat and her breasts that kind of sag over top of them.
41.
41.
Oh, actually, it would have just been a 1 because I forgot to add my 2.
Oh, okay. In that case, you're safe. 0 or less, you need a 1d100, so you're good.
All right.
If you cared to know, you would have started hallucinating. That's cool.
I feel at home being in the great flapships game, just like the good old days with the hag.
Yeah, you kind of face plant into her chest. When you do so, you can see her reach down, and she just kind of pets his head a little bit, like she's kind of loving and caressing him. Ashley, as far as you're concerned at the moment, you're compelled to believe that this is the woman of your dreams. And you have to go slow, and the only thing you can do is basically love her and cover her in kisses and whatever else you might want to do as a goblin. So, Ashley and Gresgold, would you guys like to go fast or slow?
Fast.
Yeah.
Definitely fast.
Gresgold?
Me, I will probably go fast.
Yeah.
What is there any benefit for slow? I'm sorry for asking the same question again.
Only time you need it is when you have to move. It allows you to move and attack. Being that you're 90% of the time just in melee, you will pretty much always go fast unless you kill something and have to move again.
Okay, so that is what I'm going to wind up doing. I am going to go fast.
Alrighty.
And is how spread open is her back from the axe wound?
It's cleaved right open pretty bad. She's.
Can I see her spinal column?
Oh yeah.
All right, let me know when it's my turn.
Yeah. She is actually going to take one more action before you guys can do anything. Yeah, she kind of pets him, kind of buries her in her flesh a little bit, and then she kind of swings her arm around and points her hand, the palm of her hand out towards you, Grazgul. She's going to make a intellect. What is your agility? Let's see. 11. Ooh. She got a 21, so that'll be a hit. You can see her hand kind of erupt in this little ball of water. You can see that it steams and hisses and pops, and then it just flings from her hand, just splattering against you, this boiling hot water and steam. Take 9 points of damage, and it's a forceful attack, so you will be throwing 15 yards back. So as soon as this thing kind of conclaves into your chest, you feel yourself get thrown through the air, and then this huge splash as you land in the river behind you. You kind of get up sputtering and stuff. It's about shoulder height in the water that you stand at the moment. So if you wanted to reach her, you'd have to go slow now to swim out of the water to reach her. And Ashley, you are up since you're going fast.
You mean rival?
Sorry.
Rival.
Yeah.
Am I charmed?
Yes.
I cannot be charmed as a goblin. I'm immune.
Oh, nice. So you pretend to be charmed at the moment.
All right.
So,
but I will go fast after him.
Okay.
I will cast Division again, I guess.
All right.
Just really want to rip her apart. Okay. I am going to use my sorcery thing to add a strain, but to add a boon.
Okay.
Okay, that's a 15 in total then.
Okay.
Against her strength, I believe.
Her strength is a 13.
Yeah, strength. Okay, so I deal 3d6, 10 points of damage.
That'll
then,
take her out, so you can describe that if you want.
Awesome. So, yeah, it's just like the whole. He kind of creates this sort of magical kind of wind energy in his hand, and then he just kind of does this with his hands in a cross, and her body just rips in half, and there's, excrement and blood and body parts and just every conceivable gory and disgusting part of the internal workings of a body is now on the outside, and is just showering down everyone.
Oh,
Mostly on top of Ashley.
Yeah. Even if he wasn't charmed before, he definitely isn't now.
You
But
gotta
I
make your
my with two
2 veins.
things. Okay, that's a 10.
It's a success then. So move that up to 3.
Two strain, isn't it?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, because that was your.
Yeah, because I'd only had one before.
Sweet. Grazgul, as you kind of start to pull yourself out of the water, you see her body just kind of explode, but you feel this grip of something grab a hold of your foot, and then something kind of grab a hold of your back of your thigh and one kind of your shoulder. And as you start to feel these fish guys underneath the water grab a hold and start dragging you down, I need to do against your strength. You got good strength though. 14. Okay. 8, 6, 17. You get 18, so that'll be. So you feel these guys kind of grab a hold of you and stuff. You can feel them start to pull you down below the water. Ashley and Rivel, when you look out across, you can see the captain's getting dragged across the water by one of these fish guys, and then he just disappears beneath the surface. You see both Nate and Miss Maida kind of floating along the top of the river, their throats slit, and you can see Grazgul. You can see this fish guy kind of come up behind him and kind of wrap his arms around his neck, and a couple more of these fish guys leap out of the water, grabbing him and start dragging him down below the surface. He too disappears beneath the water for a few moments. Ashley and Rivel, what do you guys do?
How many more of the little guys are there?
There's, well, counting the ones that took him down, there's only one left on land.
Okay. How close am I to him?
You'd be about 15, 20 feet away.
So I could probably get to him within melee combat.
It is a slow action, you would, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. If possible.
Yep. So real slow, and Ashley.
I guess I'll go slow also.
All right, Grazgul, as you kind of feel these guys grab a hold of you and stuff, you kind of fight back, trying to pull yourself free, but between the undercurrent and the debris in the water and these guys just kind of pulling on top of you, you feel yourself slip below the water. Go ahead.
Before I go underneath the water, can I grab the hag's spine for leverage?
Yep, give me a strength check. We'll just do opposed ones. It'll be easier. So you'll be a 1d20 plus your strength, and give yourself a boon since you're giving yourself leverage.
So 17.
17. Then got the 3 guys on you, so I got 21. So yeah, you're able to kind of get leverage. You grab a hold of this thing and start to pull you free, but between the current and everything, you're just not able to quite hang on. You feel the whole spine give away and just kind of rip out of her form.
That was what I was going for. If I was going to die, she was going to die with me.
Yep, you can see this, what's left of her spine just get ripped from her back. Bits of most of her rib cage and stuff kind of breaks free from this too. And you see what's left of Grazgul as he slips beneath the surface, kind of holding what's her spine and a little bit of the flesh and meat that's still left on there, kind of disappearing beneath the surface too. Feels like you're under there for like several moments, Grazgul. You're kind of gasping for breath and getting nothing but water. And all of a sudden, everything around you just kind of goes completely dark, and you feel yourself get really light and pass out. Rivel and Ashley, go ahead if you guys want to take your slow action with this one creature that's left.
I would begin just like running away into the forest. Somehow, now covered in all these filth, I have like these flashbacks of being in the goblin, living in the sewage, and as I strip off these fancy clothes, I now resemble much more of a dirty goblin than the goblin I've tried to be. If I see Rivel looking like he's gonna head in, I will sing a song for him. But
yeah, I think I'm gonna. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go for him.
all right, I will sing for him a song of inspiration, which will give him 2 additional boons, and really like I'm having like this de-evolution back into a goblin, so it's like guttural growls of goblin folk songs inspiring him.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, but actually, no, that's an 11.
All right, what is it you want to try and do?
So there's this goblin left, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, this fish guy left, yeah.
the fish guy. Yeah,
I just want to hit him, yeah.
just a basic attack.
Yeah.
Your defense is 12, so that would be a miss.
Damn it.
He will take his slow turn and go on you. That's definitely not going to be a hit. So yeah, he kind of jabs back as he starts to slowly back up, trying to disengage, and he kind of slips into the water a little bit. The whole ground kind of shakes a little bit, though. Ashley, you can feel the ground kind of crumble a little bit beneath your feet. And you look down, you can see these big cracks kind of start to open up, and the whole thing just gives away, and you can feel yourself falling. You can hear his scream behind you, Rivel. When you look back, you just see Ashley kind of standing there singing a song, and then he just kind of drops out of sight. And you're still left there with this one creature kind of staring back at you. It has this big, smoothy sort of smile that crosses its face, and it seems to be very energized a little bit as it moves back in. Would you like to go fast or slow?
Me?
Yeah, sorry.
Fast.
All right, you get to go first then.
Sweet. I am going to. Yeah, let's do this. This will be fun. I'm going to use a minor paradox on him. So I make an intellect attack roll against his intellect, and if I succeed, he ceases to exist for 1 round, and then reappears later on.
Intellect is only a 9.
And I have to equal that, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Then I rolled a natural 9, so I don't need to use my sorcery thing. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. So yeah, I just like, reckon he's just gone.
Yeah, you can see him step forward a little bit, like he's got his dagger ready to, kind of tear it into your shoulder and stuff, and yeah, he just kind of blinks out of existence. The ground rumbles and shakes around you a little bit, and when you kind of move over, you can look down into this big sinkhole that's kind of appeared in the ground. Looks like it drops down into this cavernous sort of area. You can see these 4 little fish guys kind of scurry across the ground and deposit the body of the Minotaur next to where you see Ashley laying on the ground. Ashley, you're going to be falling for 30 feet, which is going to be 16 damage, but you can make an agility for half, so make an agility check.
The good news is I'm alive either way.
You can apply your trickery to that.
Again? Well, I passed it anyway.
Okay. So only 9 points of damage.
Only 9.
Kind of hit the ground hard and, lose this breath out of your body. Beside you is this Minotaur who's still coughing up water and stuff. He's got a blade still sticking out of his shoulder. You can hear the scurrying of these 4 little fish guys in the distance, and then this hard slamming of a door. And Rivel, you're up above about 30 feet looking down upon these guys in this cavernous room below you.
Okay. Okay. So are there lots of enemies down in the cavernous room.
Nope, you've seen the four little fish guys kind of come in and drop the body of the Minotaur and then kind of scurry off into the shadows and into the distance, kind of out of the way where you can't quite see. But you do hear the heavy thud of like a door or something heavy.
I really don't want to go down there.
Do you have rope?
I do, but I've got a better idea. I am going to...
Can we have a flashback of my character saving you?
So, yeah. And can we have a flashback of him deciding to give up for a second?
You don't know that. You overshot the boat.
So, would this be within a medium range then?
Medium range goes up
from
to
me to the
30
pool.
yards, so it'd be exactly medium range.
Okay, perfect. I am going to cast probably my second favorite named spell after hated defecation, which is Hole of Glory, which basically creates two portals, and I can go through one and come out the other. So I will come out below for a minute, and so if I hear anyone, I'm going to jump back through the other side, back up to the top. Insurance. Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do.
So yeah, this large portal kind of appears beside you, and then one down next to Ashley and Grazgul. So as you dive through, you see it kind of disappears into this portal by him, and next thing you know, you guys, he's kind of right next to you. The portals are still open for the moment. This cavern that you're in, it's about 30 feet in diameter. You can see it reaches up to the ceiling. What area up above looks like it's basically just a sinkhole, like the land finally gave out. Some trees kind of trembled down in. You can see the roots hanging. There's two exits from the room itself. You can see one from the direction where they dragged Grazgul from. It's kind of like this little cavernous thing. You can hear the sloshing of water in that direction. The opposite direction, opposite of where you're looking, would be to the north, and this is where the four little fish guys ran. And you can see this another little cavernous opening, but it's blocked by a heavy portcullis that's been dropped down. Behind it, you can see this room. Looks kind of big. You can't quite get a vantage from your area, but you see at least four people kind of chained to the wall in this room. They've been completely stripped naked. You can see their bodies just covered in tons and tons of lash marks. They look all unconscious except for one, a younger lady, maybe in her late teens, who kind of stares in your direction, her hair kind of hanging down filthily. And she kind of gasps out something that sounds like help, but you can't quite make it out.
I'll go over to her. I'll offer a drink from my water skin.
She's on the other side of the portcullis that they dropped.
You
don't hear anything else in the room, though, besides her. As you get closer to where this portcullis is, though, when you get a look, you can see more and more bodies line the walls. There's at least 12 that you can see. They all look like they're alive, but they're all just been stripped naked and lashed by whips or something. And they all just have all these open wounds that are kind of look infected and greenish. Have a little bit of black stuff. It looks very recognizable to what Ashley was licking off of poor Gavin back at the place.
Sounds like. Okay.
There is a lot of genitals hanging out for Ashley to admire.
Hopefully we can just leave him here. So, I'm going to have a look around, see if I can find any way to open the portcullis then.
From where you're at, you don't see anything. You can see that it's hooked up by like a winch sort of system on the far side, and in the other room, blocked by the portcullis, where all these people are kind of hanging there. There is like a big wheel thing that somebody would turn. It looks like it would open it. Strong enough for something like that, you could probably heave it open.
Because I turn to my companions, so I'm not metagaming. I say, I could create another portal to get us on the other side, but it would take me a moment to be able to do it again to get us back to the top.
Ashley will want to get out of here. You see him beginning to offload his merchandise through your spell as all the penises come through the glory hole.
I'm just talking to the Minotaur at this point.
Ashley just wants to get out of here. He's back to playing his character.
So we'll get out of here in a second. Do you reckon you'd be able to free these people of their manacles.
You're muted, Groscool. Not sure if you know.
If he's dead, his you see me begin fumbling through his trousers, thinking, this will make a great necklace. And then I pulled him down.
Your Highness.
And then I pulled him down. I go, well, maybe a bracelet.
And I smack him across the room. Get away from me, you perverted goblin bastard.
As Ashley tumbles across the ground and through the glory hole.
And I get up like I can tear loose. I was accosted. I walk over to the prisoners and I rip their monocles off.
Well, they're on the other side of a portcullis, so I can get us on the other side of that. But you can rip off their manacles from the wall, yeah? Or
that is correct.
So? Okay.
If
so
not, I'll just chop their hands off.
Yeah, I will. Okay, I'm gonna. I feel like I'm breaking the game because if I was a DM, I'd hate this. But I'm gonna make another hole of glory.
No, it's fine.
On the from one in front of us and one on the other side of the portcullis, and send them through.
Right.
And
who's diving through this glory hole first?
I am. I'm stupid.
All right. Yeah, you kind of pull yourself through. You can pop out on the other side of this wall, and you can see you're in a long chamber. It's only about 15 yards wide, but it stretches kind of in both directions like a long hallway for close to 50 yards. All along both sides of this wall, you can see all these bodies have been chained up to the wall, and they just kind of hang there. Down towards the ends of both hallways, the bodies are well past dead, and some of them are starting to get mummified a little bit, and other ones are just still in states of decay. The one next to you, though, you can see a younger girl, in her upper teens or something, kind of look up, and she kind of gasps out for help. You can hear the soft sound of a click, though, and when you look down the hallway, you can see this little tiny bolt kind of speeding through the air. I need an agility check from you with 2 banes.
oh no.
15. 4.
So 11 total. And that's against... Okay. So you can feel this little bolt kind of puncture into your chest, and when you look down and kind of pluck out free, you can still see that it has that nasty-looking black poisonous goo on it. Only take 1 point of damage, and you actually passed for the poison, so you're good on that too. You can hear this giggling sort of laughter as one of these fish guys kind of crawls up from looks like a little mud hole type thing in the ground at the end of the hallway, and he skitters across the ground on all fours and starts charging in your direction. As you kind of glance over your shoulder, Grosgold, there's 3 more on the other side of the hall, skittering across the floor. And then the whole ground kind of shakes a little bit, and you hear this heavy thump. And then the whole ground shakes again, and you hear another heavy thump. It seems like it's coming from directly ahead, and when you glance that way, you see this one that's scurrying across the ground towards you, but the whole end of this hallway opens up. It looks like basically like the whole end where it was just a solid doorway type area just kind of explodes apart, and you see this one large eye kind of staring down the hallway in your direction.
Huh.
I have a question.
Do I see... Is there torches?
Yeah, there's torches, little sconces that line the wall. There's probably about 6
Is there
of them.
oil in the torches?
They're the actual dried. Well, yeah, they'd have oil to start them and stuff. So I mean, there's no actual loose oil though.
Yeah, I was looking for loose oil.
Yeah.
If a spell has a duration, can I cancel it early?
Yes.
I might do that with the hole.
Yeah, I am safely like through the glory hole. I'm
So
peeking
let me ask you this
my
here.
head through just to see what's happening.
Oh, I'm definitely cancelling it then.
So,
What happens if you're caught between them? No, I will say, I will shout to Minotaur, come back through.
and I lure the eyeball towards me to have it come through the glory hole, and I jump through it before it comes through and get to the other side.
So are we trying to
And
time it?
Why are we bullfighting? It's like we could do this without like the epicness.
Yeah, you see these three little creatures behind you skitter across the ground and kind of dive in this portal behind where Grosgold goes through, and the one that's up in front of him does too. Up at towards the end of this hallway, Grosgold, just before you go through, you can see this eyeball kind of shimmers and shakes a little bit, and then it kind of shrinks down, small enough to kind of fit down the hallway. And as it gets smaller and smaller, you can see that it's covered almost skull-like, but it's covered in this thick, nasty, sort of greenish sort of hide. It has little tendrils that hang down underneath of it, and it has 6 little stalks sticking off of its head, each one in an eye, and it just comes floating down the hallway in your direction. Grezgo, you can make it through that portal. The other 4 are following him through. I don't know if you want to do anything about that, Revel.
I mean,
Cancel
as
the
soon as
portal.
he's through, I would try and cancel it as quickly as possible. But once he's 100% through, I don't want to have him, leave a hoof
Caught
behind
in
us.
limbo.
Yeah. Because it literally says, when the effect ends, the portals close, possibly severing whatever is in them. So,
So,
that
Grezgo,
could
you
go
kind
bad.
of jump through on this thing. Revel, why don't you make me, how about an intelligent or intellect check?
I will definitely give him guidance. So like 2
Alright.
more boons. I'm kidding. Close the hole before it's penetrated. Close the hole before they come.
I'm so tempted just to push you through before I close it. Oh, shit, I rolled a 1. But I
Oh
have
God, we're screwed.
I have a thing, but I'm not sure if it's helpful here. It says, whenever a creature within short range rolls a 1 on any die, I can use a triggered action to discard and let the creature roll the die again. Does that count for me?
Yes, it does with short range on any die. So yes. Yep.
Okay, so I can re-roll that. But it's my triggered action. Okay.
Yep, so you lose your triggered.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Goodness, you're halfling.
And that's an 18. So 23,
Right.
27.
So it's up to you when you want this thing to close. You can see Grosgold kind of dive back through and roll across the ground. Right behind him is 4 of these little creatures that are getting ready to dive through. And behind them is this floating eyeball-like creature that's kind of heading towards the portal as well.
Mm. Okay. I think as soon as he comes through, I'll close it.
So you can see one of these creatures start to get halfway through when you close this thing, and it completely severs it in half. The top half of its body kind of flops around on the ground, and when you look through, you can see the bottom half of it kind of flopping around against the portcullis on the other side. The other 3 creatures that were right there just completely jump on top of what's left of this creature, and you can see they start chowing down on it and tearing it apart and eating it. As you kind of watch, you can see that bulbous orb start to kind of come around the corner, and you can see it kind of takes on this opaque, gassy sort of look, and it starts to float through the wall. So
We
actually,
still have the other glory hole, don't we?
yes. Which I was going to say, who would like to go fast?
Yeah.
Yeah, me, please.
Wait, no, I'm slow. I want to.
So I can have them both open at one time?
Yeah, as long as you
Okay,
focus on
sweet.
concentrating. Yeah.
Sweet,
Well, you
yeah.
closed the one, right?
Yeah, so one's closed.
Yep.
Yeah. So I still have the one going back up to the top then.
Correct.
Yeah, were you serious when he said that the Minotaur slapped me through the glory hole?
I
Is
figured
that-
you.
Yeah, so
No.
So I'm already up in safety.
You know what?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to go through on my turn.
You want to go fast or slow?
I'm going fast. Please.
In Grasgool, fast or slow?
Fast.
Fast. All right. Yeah, you can see this huge bulbous creature kind of dissipate a little bit and kind of just float right through where the portcullis and part of the wall, and then it seems to like re-solidify. It's about 20 yards away from you as it kind of again starts to float in your direction. You see its little eye stalks kind of spin around. When it opens its main central eye, you can feel this sharp pain in your chest. I need strength saves from Grasgool and Rivel with 3 banes.
3 Bane and the strength save. Oh no. This is it. This is the end. That stood on 18 for so long, and then it's,
I got 17 minus 4.
9 minus 5 is 4, minus my strength of 2 is 2.
Right, Grasgool, you're good. Rivels, you
I love
kind
my
of
tank.
stop and turn at this thing, you can feel like your heart kind of flutters a little bit, and you feel this really heavy pressure in your chest. You're going to take 17 points of damage. What does that put you at?
-3. Well,
Okay.
0.
Right. So, Grazgul, as you kind of glance over at him, you can see his whole body shudder a few times, and then it just explodes as his heart gets ripped out. You can see his stomach spill across the ground, and he kind of falls face first. Give me a 1d6 roll, Rivel.
That can't be good for his concentration.
Me? Yeah, I was going to say.
So the question I have is, what was the overall objective of this?
Not to have your heart ripped out, I think was.
I can tell you what it wasn't. Yeah, I rolled a 3.
All right. Overall objective was to find out who was behind stealing all these crates and destroying the ships and causing all the merchants to lose their wares.
So I have discovered that a giant floating eyeball, correct?
Pretty much, yes.
I leave.
All right.
I leave.
With a 3, yeah, if you got a 6, you might have been able to survive. But yeah, as soon as you kind of hit the ground, you can see what's left of Rivel's body just kind of spill out. His jaw kind of unhinges a little bit and rolls across the floor, and his whole body, all the flesh just kind of decays, leaving just a skeleton in a pile there. The eye kind of floats forward. As soon as you look over at this portal, you can see it starting to disappear, Grazgul, without him having this concentration on it. What would you like to do?
I jump through the portal to get to the other side.
All right.
Uh-oh.
You need an agility check with...
this is going to go so
well. Natural 20. A natural 20.
Jump leg first, just in case.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, when you kind of just get ready to jump through, you can see this eyeball, and you get that same feeling in your chest, Grazgul, but you kind of dive through as this thing kind of closes up just behind you. It shears off a few hairs off your ass, but when you come through, you're up above, staring down at this thing. You can see it kind of shifts, and it kind of looks like it's looking in your direction or whatever, but it doesn't seem to move or do anything. And then it slowly turns around and starts going back where it came from, leaving Grazgul and Ashley up at the top of the sinkhole looking down.
Oh,
so I'm looking down with Ashley.
No, I am halfway into the forest by now.
So I leave. I craft me a boat. I go back to the mainland. I leave Ashley behind because I'm keeping the gold, and that's the end of my adventure. I have no cares and no give a dams.
Yeah, I am sure that you build a boat and teach yourself to sail upriver before I pick it back on foot. I will take that race.
So yeah, you can see Grazgul just kind of saying "fuck this" and headed up the river, and Ashley hauling ass through the woods in his more goblin-esque style now. What does Astley do from the days onward?
Do I get the reward?
If you headed back home, why don't you roll a 1d6, and Grazgul will roll a 1d6. See who gets there first, whoever's higher.
One what?
1d6.
1d6.
You got 6.
I rolled unfortunately a 5.
All right. So Ashley, in your hustling little goblin legs, you get back to Autarch first. You kind of slam through the door looking all ragged and haggard, not much left of your clothing, and your penis rings are kind of hanging loosely off your vest.
Stylishly
off your vest. He kind of looks up and he's like, "Where the hell are the others?" Just as he says that, you hear the stomping of Grazgul coming down the hallway behind you as he kind of bursts into the room. The two of you standing there before Autarch. He's like, "So, what did you learn?"
A giant eyeball is killing everyone, and it killed one of the mates. He was bloody useless, as you can tell. I killed everything. I will take my payment.
He kind of glances down to Ashley. He's like, "So you didn't do shit?"
And I will stand there covered in shit from being blown up. And I will just begin playing my lute, actually giving a more accurate, hyperbolized story where I am the hero. Playing it before this guy, and this will be another song of friendship, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
roll
so-
a 13 to cleave him in twain.
Wait, no. All right, and so both the Minotaur and the captain will need to make a will challenge roll.
And a will challenge. All right, so it'll be 1d20 plus your modifier. Will modifier. The captain's gonna have I think a 7, 9. So he's gonna be captivated. And let's see.
I
Grasbow,
rolled a 16.
That'll be good.
All right. And so with this guy captivated, I tell my story of how I just want my 50 gold. He can have the gold, the 100 gold.
And I look at him like, I'm like 25 gold, or I cleave you in twain.
Tarkarian just kind of glances to the goblin. He's like, I learned a long time ago not to argue with him.
I'm not going to.
I snatch up the gold purse. I walk out the room. And I'm like, never contact me again.
Yeah, Tarkarian kind of watches the Minotaur leave. He does fish around, though, and pulls out this little black jar and kind of walks over to you and hands it to you. Ashley says, I like to collect my own penises as well. You open it up and you see it's filled with salt and all these little genitals, and the screen kind of goes black with you smiling and another jar of genitals for your collection.
I'm glad I died. I don't want to live in this world anymore.
None of us do.
That game would have went completely different if my pre-gen didn't have fascination with genitalia. But I used to collect animal scrotum, so I'm not too... Oh, we're still alive, aren't we? Well,
Yeah,
I
everyone
can't
knows
edit
about
that out
you
now.
now, Mr.
I mean,
London.
it was true. I had them hanging from my rearview mirror.
Nice.
They're kangaroo scrotum.
God.
Well, you guys can be honored that you're the first ones who just completely said, fuck this, and left. Everybody else has died, so yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So we use logic, because I'm sorry, guy explodes. That's size for me to leave.
100%.
There's nothing
seriously,
about my
Morgan.
character who's a pathological liar say he's going to be heroic and try to fight the eyeball.
Morgan, that was an absolute blast, mate. That was incredible.
Awesome.
And this
Thank you,
system
guys.
is awesome.
Yeah,
I
they still both
really enjoy it.
fun I've had in a while.
All right, let's see. Well, I want to thank you guys. Thank everybody doing the BrigadeCon. If you haven't already, check out the links to donate. Check out Shadow the Demon Lord. Great system. I really, really can't recommend it enough. Rob's a great guy, too, the guy who designs this. If you get in contact with him or anything, he's always quick to respond. Really nice guy. So that's it for our session, fellas. Let me click the thing here. Everybody, thanks for watching.
Thanks so much.